This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com. Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
points, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Good afternoon, boys and girls. We are ready to rock and roll from beautiful Hialeah Park, where we do it every Thursday out here. Come on out and join us. We're out here in the second floor poker room. Folks are enjoying a little poker action. Got all the TVs going, so that way some baseball. I've got the Red Sox on there. So they've got races going on throughout the country. You can keep up with that. So if you want to wager, they got windows right there. So you got it all out here at Hialeah Park in the second floor poker room. First floor loaded with the machines, the loosest slot machines in the state. And that is like the law. All right. That is right there. That is on the website, the official website of the state. Loosest slots in all of Florida right here. So if you love playing slot machines, this is the place to go. This is the one where you get the most chances to win. We got loaded. We are loaded with guests. Marcel Louis Jacques will join us from the airport because he's about to fly out. So he'll join us at 3:20. Alan Poupart will stop by for his segment, like always, at 4:30 with our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. Omar Kelly will join us at 5:30 with the Essential Moving Experts Miami Dolphins Exchange. So we'll have some fun there. And Marcel, of course, with Welt and Rayom. And remember, for those of you out there that are having flood issues and storm issues and you're having problems with the insurance company, stop dealing with the insurance companies and call Welt and Rayom, and they will handle those insurance companies for you. 954-966-4646. Anywhere in South, it really doesn't matter where you're at in Florida, but especially for our friends in Broward County, because what happened in East Fort Lauderdale is just a crime, dude. It's just, it's heartbreaking to watch what everybody went through in Fort Lauderdale. My God, it just heavy hearts, man, because it's every day and people still dealing with it, several days later. And it's just unacceptable, man. Really is, unfortunately. I just, so, and I know how these insurance companies are because I just lived through that experience myself when we had a hole in the wall in our house. And, it's not fun, dude, living like that. And so I get when you're going through certain times like that. And Welt and Rayom, saved our asses. And they can do the same thing for you. So make sure you call them 954-966-4646. Ask for Jeff Welt, okay? Jeff is fantastic. He was rocking 2 nights ago over at the Billy Idol concert. I was last night over at Illinois and Friends. They were pretty good, by the way. I will admit, okay, as much as I love watching them on YouTube, I will have to say that was a little bit of a step back last night compared to what I watched on YouTube. And one of the singers that I'm not used to seeing on the videos, the kid on the far right, if anybody went to the Parker last night, the guy that tries to play the sitar sound, he doesn't sound close enough to it, not even in the neighborhood. And so it kind of threw it off a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And then they started off kind of slow with some songs that really weren't popular songs, and so it was all right. It was good. It was probably the only time I will go see them. I probably will not go again to see Illinois and Friends, but it was good. It was good. We enjoyed it, but it wasn't as, I guess I built it up a little bit more for myself from watching all the videos over the last year since, was it Dougie Fresh? I think you're the one that told me about it. And so, yeah. So, all right. Albuquerque Alex is in the house. That's a crafty name right there. I like that. Jonathan Cagle was first in. Timothy Eason in. Think Blue Dodgers in. Brian Walters said rough night for the Heat, good night for the Panthers, and Marlins blew the sweep. Well, I mean, Marlins still won. I think they've won their last 3 series. Am I correct? So we're good with the Marlins. Can't ask for more. The Heat are frauds. Are we kidding ourselves here? Game 1 was because Giannis didn't play. If Giannis is healthy and stays in that game, the Heat probably lose that game. They needed to shoot out of their minds like they never shot all year in order to win that game. They're not better than the Bucks. They got their win. They'll be lucky if they can sneak another one out. If Giannis is playing from here on out, it's over, bro. It's over. The Heat are frauds. They're not good. I love the Heat. I would love to be wrong. God, I hope I'm wrong and they beat the Bucks. And that way you guys can have fun and pick on me and call me all kinds of names and I'll laugh at it and we'll go. But the Heat are frauds. The Panthers. I stand by what I said a couple of weeks ago. I got hope for the Panthers. I got no hope for the Heat. They got lucky in game 1. That's all. Last night was not luck for the Panthers. Okay? They played well in the game in the first game. That's why it's not fraudulent. See, the Heat are frauds. They only won because of the Giannis thing, and it kind of threw them off kilter. They came back, reset without Giannis, and kicked their ass. That game wasn't even that close, 138 to 122, because of all the garbage time in the fourth quarter, outscoring the Bucks 37-20, when Duncan Robinson choked the entire game and decided to make baskets when there was no pressure. Like the other day when Lowry had that big game, because there was no pressure. You know, it's just... the Heat are frauds. This is a terrible team, Heat-wise, not NBA-wise, because they still made the playoffs. But by Heat standards, is a mediocre team, and they're frauds. The Panthers are not frauds. See, the Panthers in game 1 played one hell of a game against Boston. They did not get dominated by Boston. Okay, Boston won. They were the better team. One of the goals was, that first goal was kind of, what are you going to do? Second was kind of greasy, got past Lyon a little bit. And the third one, you just got to give them credit because they're badasses. But overall, that wasn't, they got dominated by Boston, Miami. Florida played one hell of a game. And then they come back in game 2 and they beat the Bruins. That proves that it wasn't flukish. The Heat, brother, Giannis doesn't play and you get your ass embarrassed. Shows you're a fraud. You just got lucky in one game and you made some shots and it's over. That's all. So it wasn't a rough night. It was what it's supposed to be. That's all. If you're honest with yourself, if you want to lie to yourself and, want to talk up the Heat or whatever, you can go ahead and lie to yourself. That's not my style. I can't do that. I live in reality. And reality is the Heat probably won the only game they were going to win in that series. They're probably going to lose the next 4, including last night's game. I don't have a lot of hope for the Heat. If they win one more game, it would be a miracle, and that would be phenomenal for them to get eliminated in 6. That would be a blessing for them, in other words. But last night proves that they were frauds. The Panthers legitimately have a shot against Boston. They beat twice in the regular season. Okay? So they're not fraudulent. And then now they played great in game 1. Not great, but they played them very well against, in game 1. And then they beat them in game 2. So this shows me, and Bennett, boy, welcome back. Welcome back. I mean,
that was what I was going to say was Bennett. Everybody was like, "Oh, they're a different team with Bennett in it."
They are.
Shows it's amazing.
Montour comes up big. Verhaeghe's a stud. Kachuk is just a beast. Lyon has played really well, man. Lyon has done a really good job overall, and I have a little hope there for the Panthers. I have no hope for the Heat, but for the Panthers, I do have some hope there. And that was good last night. That was very impressive, last night. What we saw last night from the basketball team, it's kind of who they are. And that's why they've had the season that they've had this year. They're frauds, bro. They're nothing.
So when does this kick off today, Dougie Fresh? So you didn't know when don't you know by now at 3:00 on Thursdays? Gus 1388 is in, Stetson in, Frankie Fresco, Skylar Tipton. Hey, by the way, did I win? I lost. That's 2 weeks in a row I've lost. Damn.
Wardlow won the title.
Wow. Dave Militix. I don't know if I pronounced it right. I hope I did. If I didn't, I apologize. Militix. Armando Swaim. Very nice of you. Thank you, sir, for the compliment. Albuquerque Alex. Walter Olivares. Tracy Strafasi, because I know the T stands for Tracy, if I'm correct. Seen it enough on there. Skylar Tipton. Are you related to Glenn Tipton, the great guitarist for Judas Priest? Big O, when do you think this Brady to Miami stuff will end? They keep interviewing Brady about this, trying to get an answer. It's just a tired story. I don't know. I don't really care about it. I'm not really worried about it. So you can go ahead and worry about it. There's nothing to it. I don't want his old ass here anyways. He was avoiding tackles like a matador last year. He didn't want to get hit. He lost his edge, bro. He's done. Luis Medina, good afternoon, Big O. Keep up the great work. You and Sean, congrats. Fins up every day. Thank you, sir. Let's see. Bradster, good afternoon, Big O and Sean. Panthers smacked the Bruins in the mouth yesterday, but unfortunately he got smacked. Yep. Brady needs to just go away. Rosendo, good Thursday afternoon, Big O. May the Lord bless you abundantly on this day, and may you be a blessing to others. Well, that's very nice of you. I don't know how I could ever be a blessing to anybody, but thank you. That's very nice of you. Brian Landis is in from good old South Kakalaki. Is that like South Carolina? South Kakalaki? Okay. South Kakalaki. Big O, did you get your Cure tickets yet? Yeah, oh yeah, Super Boom Shack. I have my tickets for Miami shows, for the Miami show, and for both in Atlanta. So I don't know which one you're going to, if you're coming to the Miami show or you're going to Atlanta, but we will be going to 3 shows on this tour. Can't wait, dude. That is going to be such an awesome experience, man. Ragin is in the house. Bam DPOY. No. Kyle Cockrell. Frankie Fresco. He goes, we were up 14 when Giannis left the game. Yeah, bro, you can convince yourself of whatever you want, my man. You know, whatever you want to convince yourself, bro. The Heat's the greatest franchise in the world. They got a shot. They're gonna beat the Bucks, bro. You know, go ahead. Just convince yourself of whatever you want, bro.
It got so bad last night, the other Antetokounmpo got in, and Goran Dragic.
Like 14-point leads are safe in basketball. You know, it's like, of course. I mean, it's ridiculous. Kyle Cockrell is in the house. Campos says there was no umbrella yesterday in the Bucks arena, wetting too many threes, hitting shots into a pound. Drew Holiday is so underrated. What a great piece. Yeah, and I thought they traded too much to get him. And listen, they got their title already, and maybe, you know, they might work on a second. They're well worth the trade. No doubt. Edward Thurston House said it's going to be much harder for the Heat to win any more games without Tyler Hero. Yeah. I don't think they were going to win anyways, so it really doesn't matter to me. To me, the equation is not Tyler. The equation is Giannis. That's all for me. Nothing else. Tyler Hero is not good enough to be a deciding factor against a great team because he's not a great player. So I can't use that in that equation. The only reason the Miami Heat have a victory in this series, it's because Giannis went out with an injury. Giannis stays in that game. They come back from that deficit, and Miami's down 2-0. So, you know, you guys want to sit there and lie to yourselves, you can go ahead and do that. Jesse Johnson is in. Marlboro Man in. David Hudick. Thoughts on Dalvin Cook to Miami? Go check the platform. That's already been talked about. Alec Jeffrey is in. He's in Tacoma, Washington watching. I like it. Raging Dolphin Maniac. Big O, what do you think about the MLB rules in-game play so far? I like them. I like what they're doing now to speed up the game because a lot of young people, they don't have the attention span to watch baseball. So hopefully this will entice young people to watch. For me, I don't mind, although they're thinking of some other extreme rules that are.
The Marlins yesterday, I believe yesterday was the 1 o'clock game, right?
Yes.
Jazz, we were the beneficiary of the 3 throwovers, and he got the second. But then also later in the game, they threw twice to him at second, and then he was able to steal third because he knew they weren't going to throw it again at him. So right. it's one of those things where it's you can definitely strategize on some of these plays now.
Right, and if you're the catcher, you have to have strategy. You can't waste your throws. You just can't keep doing that because that was the problem with baseball. You know, the guy steps out of the box because he's got to fix his underwear, and then here's the pitcher, and he's got to pick a booger out of his nose, and then he's got to walk around the mound 4 times, and then he comes back, and then, we're wasting 10 minutes on a. Let me tell you something. Living through Nomar Garciaparra and Terry Pendleton, okay? That's all I needed to know from baseball. And I love baseball, but to watch those assholes come to the plate and take 15 minutes for each at bat used to drive me crazy, bro. Terry Pendleton would step out of the box for every pitch and fix his gloves, his shirt, his hats, his jock, his socks to step back in and take a swing and then go back out again. And Nomar was the same thing. Doc, 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 all these crappy things, and it would drive me crazy. So you do have to pick up the game a little bit. I'm glad that they're doing it. Although they are coming up with some other rules that they're talking about that are kind of wild, and I hope those don't come in to play. These are not bad. So I like it. Super Boom Shack in. Brian Landis is in. Fins Up says, I don't know why Van Dyke would have any interest in staying at Miami when they essentially turned him from a first-round pick into a bum. Fins Up 15, but you have he's got 1 year left. Kind of like what I just said about the catcher. You only got a couple throws, right? You don't want to waste them. Okay, you only get to transfer one more time. You better transfer to the right place, the right situation, because if you don't, you're done. They made the changes this year to get you out of the offense that screwed you last year. Van Dyke excelled in the spread 2 years ago. And then the idiot you had here in place in Gaddis last year screwed up the offense all year long. Then he started to change it towards the end of the year, and that's when Van Dyke started to play better. Well, in comes the new offensive coordinator, and they're tailoring the offense to Van Dyke. So Van Dyke is going to get the kind of offense that will show his skills. It's more about money, the story, than anything else with Van Dyke, if it's true. I don't know how true it is, because even Diaz came out of nowhere and said, this is all news to me, and he's the money man. Ruiz. I said Diaz, Ruiz. I'm sorry. So we'll see what happens with Van Dyke, and if it's true, and if he wants to transfer. And it also shows you, look at what college football is going to become now. And so players can now hold the entire program hostage if they're not going to get certain money, because they'll get bids somewhere else and they'll just transfer out, and then that will ruin your season too. Now, let's not kid ourselves. The University of Miami is not headed to a great season this year in football. They're going to win maybe 7 or 8 games. There's no way Mario Cristobal and his staff is going to make the team that we watched last year win 10, 12 games this year and go to a major bowl game. You don't know too much about football if that's what you're thinking. You know what I'm saying? It's going to take a little bit. So I believe in Mario, but the man inherited a mess. So it's going to take him a little bit to turn it around, because they don't have the kind of talent to be in the Alabamas and the Ohio States company right now. That's going to take him a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So having Tyler or not having Tyler for 1 year, you're not really challenging for a title. So it's not the end of the world. So let's not make it sound like it's, anything incredible that you're going to lose and, oh, my God, it's going to ruin your season. You're not going to have a good season anyway. Big O, I know it probably won't happen, but what do you take from Greer's comments regarding trading up into the first round? Nothing. He just said it to say it, to just keep you and give you the general comments and to tell you that they're prepared to do anything. They're not trading up to the first round. That's not going to happen. He's just going to tell you the BS line so the writers write it, and then the fans like you will talk about it or whatever, but they don't have the ammo really to move up. So it doesn't really matter. Big O, do you think Pat Riley gets rid of the coach? No, not at all. It's not the coach's fault. It's Pat Riley's fault. I don't want Pat Riley or Mickey Arison to go anywhere, but they've got to do a better job. Spo does his job. Spo makes things look better than what they are. This team was a shot away from the finals last year, and they're not that good. You see the team they are now? There you go. A few years back, when they went 31-10 with a bunch of scrubs in the second half and almost made the playoffs with James Johnson, all that, Spo did his job. The front office failed by bringing all those guys back thinking that they were better than what they were. The bubble, you got to the finals. And if it wasn't for the injuries to Bam and Dragon, you might be able to surprise the Lakers in those finals, the way they were playing. But were they able to recapture that magic ever again? No, because Spo maxed that out. Spo does his job. If you're really objective and you look at what's going on with the Miami Heat, the failures for the Miami Heat and why they're not a better team, it's not the head coach. It's the front office. They have failed. As I've said over and over again, do you know what used to compliment Alonzo Mourning and Tim Hardaway and Shaquille O'Neal and Bosh and LeBron and Wade? Let me give you the names. Are you ready? James Posey, Ray Allen, Shane Battier, P.J. Brown, Eddie Jones. These are the kind of players they used to put around their top stars. Now it's Duncan Robinson. You get my drift? And so you used to have stars like Alonzo Mourning. Bam is not Alonzo Mourning. Bam's a nice player. He's a good player, but he's not a star. And that's the problem. The level of player that the Miami Heat is settling for lately is not what they used to settle for. It's not what they used to demand. Okay? And that's the difference now. You're putting Gabe Vincent in a role that you expect him to be Ray Allen. And that's not going to happen, bro. And Gabe's shot well lately, by the way, to his credit. Okay? But you got a bunch of guys that, what are you going to do, man? They're not going to help you out. They're not really dogs. And that's what James Posey was, a dog. That's what Shane Battier was, a dog. That's what P.J. Brown was, a dog. These are the people you used to surround your stars with. And now you're getting G-Leaguers and hoping to develop them into stars, and none of them have really turned into any stars. And that's the real problem with the Heat. The front office and the ownership group, who I hear way too much over the last few years, luxury tax. You're worried. I don't want to hear billionaires cry poor, bro. I can cry poor because I'm a working stiff. So can Sean. So can a lot of people here. Yeah, exactly. But I don't want to hear Mickey Arison ever whine about luxury tax. Let's get to Marcel Louis-Jacques, man, and our Welt and Rheaume Miami Dolphins and NFL report.
All rise, football fans, as the Welt and Rheaume Miami Dolphins report with Marcel Louis-Jacques is in session.
Welt and Rheaume has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider Marcel Louis-Jacques.
All right, there he is, Marcel Louis-Jacques, baby, ESPN's own. And Welton Rayom, of course, proud sponsors. And a lot of you now have been calling, and those of you especially in East Fort Lauderdale. I know you suffered a lot of damage. Make sure you call Welton Rayom. Let them handle the insurance companies. How you feeling, my man? You're in your Uber? Is that what you're doing? You're going to the airport?
Yes, sir. Headed to the airport now. Yeah, I'm going to Dallas for the weekend. Actually, got a best friend's wedding luncheon, like a bachelorette joint luncheon, whatever they want to call it. I'm gonna go.
So there's no separate bachelorette and bachelor party?
Not that I know of, no.
Oh, so this is one of those couples that don't trust each other.
I don't think it's that deep. I think it's a matter of a lot of people from over the country.
I gotta say that guy you're going. Is that your buddy?
I don't think it's actually a bachelor or bachelorette. I think it's just pre-wedding because it's at his parents' house, so it's not like
does he wear a skirt? Does he wear a skirt?
It's not like a party. It's 2023. If he wanted to wear a skirt,
well, both of them wear dresses when they get married.
Look, man, I don't think it's a bachelor, but you're not gonna disrespect my boy like that.
I had 2 bachelor parties. I'm like LeBron. Not 1, not 2. I had 2 bachelor parties. Okay, on my own. I'm not going to allow my wife or my future wife to. Oh, honey, let's have them together. And then, no, I get.
Like I said, it's not really it's not a bachelor party as much as it just is like a time for like families to get together, like family and friends. There's one here. They're having another in Malibu, I think, but I can't do both. Not from Miami. So it's not like a bachelor party type deal. It is our families are getting together.
That poor bastard. Damn it. I'm telling you, he's turning in his entire life and he's not partying one final
this is the wrong way.
This is this is the way if it's the Mandalorian. Just so you'll know. Okay, not the wrong way. This is the way.
I need to catch up on the Mandalorian, actually.
Yeah, I haven't seen the last episode yet of the Mandalorian. I was at a concert last night, so I couldn't watch it. So I have not seen the final episode of this season yet so far. Anyway, your thoughts yesterday on the Tua thing, because I watched the press conference, and I got to tell you, the way he explains it, if people really listen, he never thought of any kind of retirement ever.
I think it's one of those like
listen to his words. It's more like, oh yeah, no retirement. Yeah, I talked about it with my family, but like that never crossed his mind, dude. Never.
No, I think it's one of those like, if somebody called Chris Greer, and asked, hey, we want to trade for Xavier Howard.
Laremy Tunsil. No, Laremy Tunsil is your example.
What do you? Chris will say, what are you offering? And they'll probably come up with an offer that's not good enough, and he'll say no. Or hey, we want to trade for Tyreek Hill. Well, what are you offering? We'll give you a 3rd round pick. No,
wait a minute. First, he's going to say, well, we're not looking to trade him, and then he'll say, so what are you offering him? That's probably what he'll say first.
Yeah, but it'll be a conversation, and ultimately he won't do it. But technically, he considered a trade for Tyreek Hill. You know what I'm saying? Like, technically, they engaged in trade talk. Technically, yes, the idea of him retiring was brought up, but he didn't bite. He didn't go. Now, it's something that, like, in hindsight, I was told in in December, January timeframe that he was considering retirement. I didn't feel strongly enough about it to go public with it. Obviously, I need to trust that source a little bit more. But I don't think it was anything serious to the point where the Dolphins had to convince him to stay or he had to be convinced to stay. I think that I think the idea was brought up. And, hey, you should consider this. Hey, is this possibly the right move? They had a conversation about it. They weighed all the options, and he's coming back. But we've talked about this before. We've talked about this a lot, that when it comes to Tua and his health, his head injuries, concussions, there's a lot of pearl clutching. There's a lot of pearl grabbing. There's a lot of fake outrage. There's a lot of fake concern. 80% of the people who say they're worried about him, worried about his career, they're not worried about his career.
I know.
They're not worried about history. They just want something to complain about.
I retweeted that when you wrote that article. I retweeted that, and I put that because it's a bunch of crap. All the people that are out there. Do you have that queued up? Can the answer from Oyefusi when Oyefusi asked him about you believe you have it? Okay, because I want people to hear this a second, because Tua kind of catches himself to make sure that he doesn't really necessarily tell you he was thinking of retirement. It's kind of, oh yeah, no, the conversation was had, that kind of stuff. You got there, so let's bring it up here. We're going to play it for everybody for a second here, and you guys can check it out and listen, just in case you haven't heard it and you haven't watched it or listened to the entire cut.
Have that confidence to not really consider that.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I think I considered it. For a time, having sat down with my family, having sat down with my wife, and having those kind of with my son. I always dreamed of growing, playing as long as I could, to where my son knew exactly what, he was watching his dad do. And
so basically you listen to him, he kind of catches himself there and tells you, like, we had those conversations, but I could never quit. And that's because obviously they're going to come up, just like anything's going to come up. Then when something happens to you, like Damar Hamlin, it's funny how the entire world's not screaming, Damar Hamlin, don't come back from football. But man, we got a whole bunch of people coming, Tua don't come back from football. It's interesting how one dude is not the lightning bolt that the other dude is, yet one dude faced death. One guy literally died on the field and had to be resurrected. The other guy was concussed, like hundreds and thousands of other players have been concussed.
Yeah, I know it's kind of a touchy subject that I want to be careful going through, because he did literally die on the field.
Yes.
But
yes.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Like, I know in my circle of friends, all of us are, or involved in the league, all of us are confused why Damar Hamlin is coming back. I'm not going to go out and tweet storm, he should retire, he should do this, do that. Like, look, man, you have a second lease on life. You do exactly what the hell you want to do with it.
Would you
personally? I would not.
Would you be a cop?
No.
No, right? You would never be a cop, right? Because most of us would never be a cop. One, we'd be afraid to be a cop. Two, we probably wouldn't do it for the money. And three, we're probably not interested in a job that we're putting our lives on the line every single freaking day. And nobody tells cops to quit. It's hilarious, bro. It's hilarious.
I think it's pearl clutching, particularly like I only really see my mentions. I don't look at other people's mentions, but I see a lot of Bills fans that have an opinion about his health. And I will say again, I have seen Josh Allen get knocked unconscious on the football field before, and there was not this kind of backlash to it. There wasn't this kind of he should retire, he shouldn't play, they should hold him out. Matter of fact, everybody was holding their breath, waiting, hey, will he be active this week? Will he play against the Titans? Will he do this? It wasn't this type of outrage. And again, he was knocked unconscious on the field. He wasn't hospitalized, but he was knocked unconscious. It's still not good for you. But it's just, if you don't genuinely care about the guy's health, hopping on the bandwagon to drag doctors' decisions and this, that, it feels disingenuous to me, because I know a lot of people don't actually care about the guy's health. It's just the hot topic. It's the hot button issue. Now, you and I came to an understanding a week or so ago, a couple shows ago. He doesn't have a concussion problem, but he is a concussion away from having a concussion problem. Yeah. He gets one more, then we're like, okay, yeah. Yes, that's it. I don't want to gamble with this guy's life, but ultimately he's 25, 26. He's a grown man. He's a grown man, a multimillionaire with a family who's capable of making his own decisions. If he's going to play football, were you going to go out into the football field and snatch him off?
Right. Were you surprised? Were you surprised that they brought him out to talk?
No, not at all. He's the quarterback of the team. He hasn't spoken since December 25th. Not in like a football official capacity. They just started their offseason program, so I'm not surprised at all. I think it was appropriate. I think it was appropriate. I think he was prepared for basically every question that he got. Obviously, I saw a couple fans upset about the line of questioning. Like, man, it's been 4 months since we talked to the starting quarterback. He's going to get some questions about. I'm surprised he didn't get more.
What did you ask? What did you guys ask? There was nothing.
I think people are tired of hearing about. The concussions. But look, man, in all reality, until this is it's something that's going to follow him. It's something that's going to follow him for at least a couple years. It is what it is.
Well, you know what?
Until your player, you do something to overshadow it.
If he goes this year without a concussion, it'll be water under the bridge.
I hope so.
It won't be brought up again unless it happens again. Like, if it doesn't happen this year, I don't think it's brought up again until or unless it happens again. Because time heals all. People forget. People move on, bro. And a year from now is like a world of time. If we're sitting here at this point next year and there was no concussion and he played a whole season, the whole thinking is going to be different. It's like he's turned the corner, he figured it out, all this. And by the way, if he goes this year without a concussion and an injury, then be 2 years without regular injuries and then the year without the concussions. You know what I'm saying? So, because nobody gives him any breaks for not being injured last year, because that's really what was his issue. His issue were injuries, not really head trauma. Last year was the freakish thing with the head trauma stuff.
His issues have been injuries, period. Like, it has been a lack of availability that have been his issues. So he needs to go this year.
That's fair.
Fully available. You know what I mean? Like, let's group it all into one. Let's not move goalpost. His issue is a lack, because that's what the concern is, right? The concern as brutal as it sounds, when players are injured, teams' concern when factoring that in is not, oh man, his knee hurts. Oh man, he's got a bad knee. Oh man, he's got a bad ankle. No, it is, oh man, he's got a bad ankle. He can't play for us. Oh man, if we pay him money, he will not hold up his end of the bargain. Like, ultimately, it's about availability when we're talking about injuries and any concerns like that. So he's had an availability problem.
I just look at the concussions more freakish. The injuries, I don't, because you're constantly being hit in the NFL. So really, you're not, like, quarterbacks aren't necessarily all suffering concussions constantly, but they do end up with a shoulder, a finger, an elbow, a knee, an ankle, whatever. That happens like all the damn time with quarterbacks. So for me, that's been more his problem. I think now, with all the stuff he's doing, and if he has the awareness, that's the other thing that I want him to, to pick up this year, is the awareness. Like, yo, dude, the play's dead. Get rid of the ball. Live for the next play. Don't hang on to it for another second and a half, waiting for something to happen. And that, to me, if he does those things, he will eliminate the freakish part of his situation.
Yeah, I think, again, he's 1 year. And when I say that this thing is going to follow him for a couple of years, I just mean like somebody somewhere, some outlet, some talking head is going to be bringing it up for the next couple of years. But as far as reasonable and legitimate concern goes, yeah, he's one healthy season away from this being water under the bridge. Yeah, one healthy season from us not talking about that anymore. There's always somebody. There's always somebody that's got to say, well, I'm still not sure. Well, I'm still not sold. I don't know anymore. He's still fragile. He's not. Like, he's one season away from that being an unreasonable critique.
So now you saw him up close and personal. Did it look different up here?
I guess so. Like, I mean, he had a hoodie on and wasn't really looking at him like that. But again, like, I don't know. He's lower half. He's always been a pretty solidly built guy. He said that he's focused a lot on training his core, training his neck muscles, which that is when I was playing football back in, from 06 to 2010, during our warm-ups, our pre-practice, our pre-game warm-ups, that was part of the routine. Is, you'd partner up, somebody would stand to the side with your helmet against their knee, and you would stretch for a 10-second count. Other side, 10-second count. Somebody would push down on your helmet, you would push up. Like there is a way to strengthen your neck that I don't know if that's still part of that's still part of the deal. But that brought me back when he said, I've been doing neck strengthening movements. But I'm curious, so many people are, because it sounds goofy, it sounds funny, he's learning how to fall. Like, I think a lot of people are writing it off, but like, there's always got to be a first person. Like, what if it works, and all of a sudden more quarterbacks are thinking, more players are thinking, oh, hey, maybe jujitsu is a smart move. Like, maybe this is a legitimate way to prevent injury.
Players used to take ballet for balance.
Like, everything is a joke until it works.
Marcel, you're old enough. Haven't you run into a quarterback that doesn't know how to slide? And you're like,
all the time.
Right. And you're like, well, dude, you don't know how to slide? Like, we all learn how to slide playing baseball when we're young. Like, really? You can't slide? Like, everybody knows how to slide. And then there are some guys that they're great quarterbacks, and they can throw the ball and all that. And then you ask them how to slide, and they almost blow their knees out. You know what I mean? So that's nothing new, that you have to learn something, learn a new technique for something. And now this is something that people have run into, that maybe there were other shorter quarterbacks that could have used this technique and never thought about it. And this is something, like you just said, this might be something that, he's the pioneer that starts with this. And then other smaller quarterbacks are going to kind of maybe learn, because maybe they're a little goofy and they don't know how to fall. And guess what? That's not something that everybody knows how to do. I know how to do it because I took judo for many years. So I learned how to fall, because there is a technique to it. So anybody that's taken judo or jujitsu, when they hear what Tua's doing, none of them are gonna laugh at it, because they're gonna go, oh yeah, that's what you start to do. When you first get into that, they teach you how to fall first and foremost, because you're gonna fall a lot when you're fighting.
That's where a lot of your injuries. Exactly. That's where a lot of injuries come from. Is like you trying to, like, you not wanting to fall down, so you brace in some way, or you clench some muscle, or you twist and that's how you get hurt. So I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So to me, that's not people have done all kinds of different things to help them. I mean, I never heard of a player getting into a hyperbaric chamber until Zach Thomas. Zach Thomas was the first player that I ever heard in my life that Zach Thomas bought a hyperbaric chamber and brought it home, and that he was using it. And I believe he's the guy that kind of started it in the NFL, because I believe when he retired, he gave it to maybe Crowder. He might have given it to, and other players started using hyperbaric chambers after Zach was using it. You know what I mean? Anything to get an edge, anything to get better. And to me, I respect that from anybody. That's a salesperson, a reporter.
Commit to yourself, commit to your body, commit to your well-being. Like I wanted to ask him about that. Like if he had heard about anybody else doing that, or who recommended it to him. We didn't get a chance to ask him. It was relatively short, like, availability. But that is something I want to ask him before the end of the offseason. It's like, where did you get this idea from? Like, who suggested it? Have you heard of any other players doing that? I haven't heard of any other players doing any sort of martial arts in terms of learning how to fall properly. Some guys, I know Brandon Marshall used to box. A lot of guys used to box, and that helps you just, I guess, your agility, your hand-eye coordination, this and that. But you're not learning how to fall in boxing. If you fall in boxing, something went wrong.
Yeah, usually you're going to fall pretty hard when it comes to boxing. All right, what are you working on ESPN so folks can check you out before you go out to that week bachelor party that you're visiting?
I just filed it today, just about how the Dolphins draft strategy got to this point. Because if you remember, once upon a time, 2022, we'll say July. July. They had traded Devontae Parker. They had 2 first-round picks, 2 thirds, a second. They had ammo to move up if Tua didn't take the leap that he took, or they could infuse this roster, which was quickly becoming expensive, with a lot of talent on rookie deals. It was a specific plan. Ever since then, they've traded a first-round pick. They traded a 3rd-round pick. They've got 4 picks in back-to-back drafts. It's going to be the fewest in back-to-back drafts that I could find on Draft Reference. It'll be their first time going back-to-back drafts without a first-rounder since 2003. Somebody asked Chris Grier, like, is this your Super Bowl window? He says, I don't see windows. I just see opportunity. So this is their Super Bowl opportunity. But that should be coming out, I think, either tomorrow or Saturday, one of the two.
And by the way, it's genius on his part, because if he says window, then everybody nails him shut right there. Oh, this is the Dolphins. Chris Grier said this is the Dolphins window, and that's exactly it. And they would have used that against him the entire time. By the way, I do find it interesting that people are still questioning Chris Grier about how good he might be, and yet in the same sentence, then people are talking about the Dolphins being contenders. So you can't have it both ways. You can't question the general manager and then go say that the team might be a contender this year. Either you're doing a good job or you're not. I'm sorry.
It's one of the two.
Yes. But, I'm a Dolphins fan. We're never contenders. Ever for the last 20 years, Marcel. Okay? So if you're saying if you're saying the Dolphins are contenders for this division or the Super Bowl, then please don't follow it up by saying, whoa, Chris Grier is doing a questionable job. Like, what? Come on, man.
Exactly. But all right, man, I'm gonna head out.
Get out of here. Be safe.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. There you go. Marcel Louis-Jacques, baby. That's it. It's the mallet, right? Is that it? The mallet? The gavel. There we go. The gavel has been brought down.
This has been another session of the Welton Rayom Miami Dolphins Report with Marcel Louis-Jacques. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
All right. There we go. And Welton Rayom, man, we have a few listeners that live in the Broward area that are already calling Jeff and Dan, 954-966-4646. And if any of you out there are dealing with all that damage, water damage, storm damage, and then you have to deal with the damn insurance company, use a lawyer. Trust me. You'll get the attention of the insurance company. If you're calling them, they're laughing at you because they know you don't know all the laws and all the loopholes. Jeff and Dan know all the laws and the loopholes. And by the way, you don't even have to show up at the office in Hollywood. You can call for a free consultation. You can do most of it by phone pretty much. Maybe the only time you have to go down there is to pick up a check or something. I don't know. But call the great people at Welton Rayom if you are dealing with a lot of the storm issues that just happened here over the last week. Great people and great supporters of our program. Keeps Marcel on, baby. Marcel is the best Fins rep this moment, hands down. There you go. John is a fan. Jason says this offseason isn't over. The roster is far from done. No need to panic in April. But it's funny, right? Because don't you hear some people say, "Oh, dude, the Dolphins can win the division. The Dolphins are one of the better teams in the AFC. Oh, they should open up the season with the Dolphins and the Chiefs. Oh, the Dolphins could be contenders." And then I'm following up with, "Well, I don't know about this front office." It's like, well, what do you mean you don't know about the front office? I had to go to a doctor this morning. God, I'm scheduling a colonoscopy. That's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, so I had to get up in the morning and I turned on my man Joe. And I think I heard him say, also, because he's also one of those guys Well, I mean, Joe's gotten a lot of shit wrong when it comes to the Dolphin organization lately here. He thought Tua couldn't play and he was wrong there. So now he lives off of the injury shit. So he'll play that sensationalism side. But I think I heard him say something like the coach is doing his job or something, and it's like, well, wait a minute. And then he was like slamming, that Chris Grier has to do a better job or something. And it's like, well, wait a minute, dude. If you love the coach, he's the one that hired the coach. He's the one that brought Marvin Allen and Reggie McKenzie. He's the one that's made the trades for all these players. He's the one that brings in everything that's happened. So you can't have it both ways. You can't tell me that he's not a good GM and then you can't follow up by saying you're a playoff contender. You might be going deep into the playoffs. If people stay healthy, this is a contender. Well, then he's doing a hell of a job. Because I'm sorry, but, I'm a big-time Dolphins fan. And I'm objective as hell. If the team isn't good, I don't care if it's the Heat or the Dolphins or the Marlins, the Panthers, the Canes, Inter. I'm going to call it like I see it. I love the Heat. I love Pat Riley. But I'm going to tell you the Heat are frauds. Okay? And I've told you for 20 years about how fraudulent the Dolphins have been. And I've been telling you now the last couple of years, this is going to prove to be one of the best front offices in the NFL. And last time I checked, when I look at this team, this is the best team I've seen in a Dolphins uniform in over 25 years. Okay? Maybe 25 years ago, you take the quarterback. But outside of that, I'm going to take this team, actually. Team, not defense. Because obviously, you're going to take the Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, Madison Surtain, Bowens defense, of course. But overall, with the offense and the defense that you have now, I'll take this team right now. This is the best team you've had in 25 years. May not be the best quarterback you've had in 25 years because you had Marino. But this is the best team you've had in 25 years. So that means that none of the front offices over the last 25 years have built a better team than Chris Grier, Reggie McKenzie, and Marvin Allen. I mean, that's the way I look at it. And again, I get it. Some of you out there, you're so jaded from the past that it bothers you. And so you can't allow yourself to enjoy the moment or think that you actually could have success. Some of you have trouble allowing yourselves to enjoy the moment. And I don't know how many times have I said it, right? Let go of the past, man. We're on our way. We're watching a hell of a team develop here, a really good organization, top to bottom. It's just some of you are so jaded. You've been hurt so badly over the last 20, 25 years. You don't allow yourselves to, the cocky Heat fan will show up quickly, right? Anything will ignite the cocky Heat fan. Game one, exactly, right? Game one will ignite the cocky. Why? Because they have all these titles. They have all this success over the last 25 years, something that Miami does not have, the Dolphins, that is. They don't have any titles, and they don't have any success pretty much in 25 years. If you think getting, that 1 year at 11-5 or the 10-6, I mean, that's not, that's just, yeah, you got in the playoffs, but that's nothing. You know what I'm saying? Give yourselves an opportunity to enjoy this. Get excited about your Dolphins. I've been telling you, I'm super pumped about this entire offseason. I know the draft isn't sexy because there's only a couple picks. Lord knows we're having trouble finding a home because the bars are saying, well, the Dolphins don't have a pick in the first round. So, you guys keep asking me, hey, are you going to be at a bar? And, the bars aren't really, they're not really looking forward to this draft. It's just, they're not, because there's no sexiness to it because of the first round. And they just look at the bottom line. I think we might be doing it from the home because we are running out of time. But, it's just one of those deals. I love what's happening this offseason. And I think we're going to see a hell of a team, and they're going to win this division. Yes, sir.
No, Karen in the chat was asking, does Welton Realm provide services in Tampa?
Yeah. Call them. They'll take care of you. Call them. Just consultation's free, Karen. So call him. And actually, Daniel has a home close to Tampa. So yeah, because his plane is out west, on the west coast of Florida. So he's always in that close to that area. So I would not be surprised. You know what I mean? They're opening. They have an office in the Keys and everything. So our friends in the Keys, if you're dealing with any kind of those issues, you know what I mean? Call Welton Rayom. I promise you, man, they are amazing. I saw it firsthand. Did you see that the driver got lost for Marcel? Took the wrong turn? He just told me now. Okay. Tell the chat that this was the worst driver I've ever had. Took me from downtown on 836, got off on the medical district. She got back on 836, got on 95 North, almost took 195 to Miami Beach if I didn't tell her not to, and then dropped me off at the wrong terminal.
I don't know if you could see, because I know you watch the camera and then but every once in a while you would see his hand going like he's trying to pay attention to you, but his arms flailing like that way, but he's trying not to yell at her because he was on the interview.
Doesn't she have well,
you think they have the maps? Yeah, Waze,
Google Maps,
anything,
right?
Anything.
Like
get you near the airport.
Right. I mean, I would use it for every. Yeah. If I was a driver, I would have it for every trip. So that way I know the traffic, the cops, the accidents,
you
whatever.
would think, but apparently no. She's the Uber whisperer. She just drives and figures it out as she's going.
Okay. All right. Frankie Fresco, thank you for the love on the super chat. Who is better, George Hill or Vic Fangio? George Hill or Vic Fangio? I'm going to go Fangio. I'll give Fangio the edge. That's hilarious, man. Big O, ask Omar, would he have Kyle Pitts on his team? PI, not a blocking tight end. Miles Deep says she must have been from Vegas. These Uber and taxi drivers out here milking dollars. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. You can't milk Uber because it's already set. Yeah, taxi you can, but not Uber. Yeah, no, Uber's set already. The price is set. You already know what you're paying right when you dial it up. You already know exactly what you're paying. Did you hear about the California driver that drove into the second story of a 2-story house? She's probably driving Marcel. Did you see that? Did you see that substitute teacher that was using her classroom as a ring for Spartacus? She would just have like kids fight, clear out the desks and all that, and just go for it, bro.
That's why she's a substitute.
And then you hear her telling the kids, "I don't want any of this recorded. I don't want this on record."
You see the one video? I don't know how old this one was.
How do you become a teacher? Like how does that person get through the system?
Well, there was one video, and I forgot. I don't know if it's an old one or not, but it kind of just hit me this weekend. Was the teacher took the phone from the student, and is putting this like in the desk, and then the student went and like, "You're not taking my phone," and then they hit each other, and then the teacher just flailed her down on the ground.
Yeah.
And was punching her, and then said, "Somebody get some help! Get no teacher!" Like she forgot totally she was at the school at first.
Right.
She was just wailing, and then it's like, "Oh, get no teacher."
Man, I gotta tell you, Marcel was looking like those dudes at the airport with the long orange flashlights.
Oscar Quintero saying the price of Uber changes if you change course and go over the original estimated miles.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Okay, I guess I've never had a bad Uber driver. I guess my Uber drivers have all been like, okay, where I go and where I wanted to go to went right directly and no problems. So, yeah. The Uber driver was well aware that it's 420, probably higher than a kite.
You think you get in an Uber's airport, you know where you're going.
Yeah. Yeah. That is funny. That is funny. Tank or Garcia? I'm going Garcia. How about you? Boxing, yeah. Tank and Garcia, bro. This weekend.
Yeah, bro. Okay, all right. Tank and Garcia. Yeah.
But you're aren't you a fight guy?
I'm not boxing.
Oh,
no.
you don't. So
I'm UFC and pro wrestling, the good stuff.
Okay.
Not this boxing thing.
Not the old stuff.
Yeah,
Huh?
not the. No, I like the Tyson days and things.
Showtime, bro. Come on.
I mean, listen, I like boxing, but
You could be in Vegas soon, by
but
the
it
way.
has become is. Hopefully, this fight is good and it builds it back up. But it just, to me,
I love
boxing lost a little bit of lost luster to me.
I know. I get
Especially
it.
when you start throwing.
I love boxing.
When you have the Paul brothers,
Right. No, I get it.
Outdrawing the people that
I get it.
it's just
I know the sport has been knocked down. I get it.
But
But
when we come here for these fights, these are great fights
I
that
know,
we have here.
right,
and everything.
exactly.
I mean,
but Tank and Garcia is going to be a hell of a fight.
I'll go Garcia.
Okay,
There we go. Although I was Tank Morgan when I wrestled, when I first started wrestling.
Okay.
I was called Tank because I didn't pick up my feet great when I was running to the ring, it's like dum, 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 dum. And then I was out of the military. So you know what? Since you took Garcia, I'll take Tank.
Gervonta, is that how it's pronounced? His first name? Tanks?
I don't know.
Is it Gervonta? Is that how it's pronounced? Anyway, would a 10-win Finn season be disappointing? Vinny, what did you do in the playoffs? That's really, you have to make the playoffs and make some noise in the playoffs, Vinny. It's really not about, you can win 10 or, how about if you win 14 games, you can get eliminated in the second week of the playoffs? Because you got a bye week, let's say. You win 14. What does that mean, Lenny? You know what I mean? Oh, you had 14 games. Great season. No, it wasn't. No, you can't win 14 and get eliminated right away in the playoffs. So it's really more, I'm going to measure the Dolphins on what kind of an impact they make in the playoffs. Okay, so I'm assuming you make the playoffs. Then I want you to make an impact in the playoffs. Okay, they made the playoffs last year, injured. Now I want you to make the playoffs, hopefully healthy, and then I want to see what you can do. Right, yeah, knock on wood. So yeah, that's really how I'm measuring. I don't care about the wins, bro. You win 9 games, sneak into the playoffs, and win the Super Bowl. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? So it's really more about, that's where I'm going to measure you. Get into the playoffs, win a game or two, show me something that you can build on something. Okay? That's how I'm going to measure them. At least that's the way I look at it. The wins on the season doesn't mean really that much to me. It's official. Marcel's in-house name includes 420 Uber. Sean, what about the face slapping? That's ridiculous. Dana got his hand in that pot, and on his wife, twice.
The more I watch that, the more I think that was a marketing ploy. Right before, it was the week before that happened.
Honey, you want to go in on it with me on this?
Let's do it, baby. Let's get this money.
That would be actually funny. The 3 biggest sports in the turn of the century because of money was baseball, horse racing, and boxing. Yep. Oscar's going with Gervonta. Sean, do you remember Tank Abbott? He legit scared me during the WCW days.
Yes, I do. He was actually, remember when UFC used to be like the tough man contest? That's where Tank Abbott was from.
Oh, okay.
He was from UFC days back then when it was like a tough man type thing. Yeah, it wasn't like it was now. You could get in there and him, Dan Severn, and Ken Shamrock went wrestling.
Oh, I remember that name.
Yeah, those three went more wrestling than everybody else.
Fins Up says I can say either win the division and get the divisional round or make the wild card and get to the AFC Championship game. Anything less is disappointing. Yeah, we got to have impact in the playoffs. That's the next step for McDaniel. That's the next step for Tua. That's the next step for the team, the franchise, fan base, all of us. We need to start seeing this team make the playoffs again. They made it last year. They were able to sneak in. This year, I don't want you to sneak in. This year, I'm hoping that you get the luck and you stay away from a ton of injuries and you get in and you do something. And that, to me, is how I'm going to measure these guys. All right, let's take a break. Hour number 2, live from Hialeah Park, continues.
You know, I tell you guys all the time about Cutter's Edge Pro, man, and what they did with our backyard and made it a pure oasis. That's our Sylvester tree right there on a beautiful day, providing a ton of sunshine. We've got one exactly like this out in the front yard, and it is absolutely gorgeous. There's Bono hanging around on the artificial turf. What's up, Bono? What's the word, baby? There you go, wagging that little tail. Maiden, there she is. Ziggy. How you doing, Ziggy? There you go. So we got the doggies hanging out. So just want to give you a little, we got some of the trees starting off from this way with the artificial turf. You see, there's Ziggy again, of course. Got it all the way. And look, we got some flowers coming out. That tree now will start to also spring, and it's absolutely beautiful too. So got all that. They can do all kinds of things for you in your backyard to kind of make it an oasis, which is what we've done. And obviously the dogs can play. What's up, Bono? I got him there hanging out. Maiden, there she is. There she is, the one and only. She is mean as a skunk, by the way. Just want you to know. She's awesome with us, but I mean, if you're a stranger, you don't want to meet mated. So as you can see, and then the artificial turf, remember, there's no watering. There's no cutting the grass. It looks fabulous like this the entire time. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful. Back here in this corner is where we put the barbecue. I wheel it out, cook, then I wheel it back in. See, looks beautiful, doesn't it? Flowers are coming out. It's awesome. And then when I want to play a little golf, there's my putting green down the side, which is a beautiful thing. There's one of the holes all the way to the other side where Bono is at. All lights up. It's really beautiful when it lights up. See, we got the rough. Got several. Got one on that side. Got one over there in the corner. Bono's leaving. Got rough all over the place, man. Just in case, you get the ball trapped in there. That's it. That's another swing. Right, Maiden? So, check it out. CuttersEdgePro.com. Make your home an oasis. Make your business, your HOA complex, condominium, you name it, they got you, bro. They do it all. All right? Then cut your trees down. And the artificial turf, I swear by it. Really easy to maintain, and it looks just absolutely freaking beautiful. Cutter's Edge Pro. Right, Ziggy?
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
Viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All right. Appreciate all of you out there coming to you live from beautiful Hialeah Park, baby. Second floor poker room. Come on out and join us. Folks are enjoying a little of the poker action right now. A lot of the tables are loaded. Got games going on. Got races going on. Wagering going on. First floor. All the gaming action. Loosest slots. So come on out. They've got also a section outside called the Smoking Hot Slots, because this is a non-smoking casino. Remember that. Non-smoking casino. Now, outside, you can smoke in the Smoking Hot Slots. They got a lot of ventilation, a lot of fans and all that, so it's really cool. So you can bring your vape pen or your cigar or cigarette and enjoy there at the Smoking Hot Slots. There we go. All right. I love the the beauty of media nowadays is that they play the game to bait the listener, the viewer, the reader, and then they get you going, and it has no substance, right? Because weren't the Dolphins trading for Lamar Jackson? I'm sorry, I must have missed that, weren't they? Oh no, that's right. Oh wait, Poyer, the Jordan Poyer was being signed. Oh no, they were also going after Brady this offseason too, right? Right. Who else? Who else were they trying to trade for? Derek Carr. Were there any of those reports? Right. They had everything going, and then did any of that happen? No. Oh, and remember, if they win against Buffalo in the wild card round, Tua could play the following week, and then you found out that was also a bogus report from ESPN, and he was never even in protocol. They waited till the season was over so he can start and finish his protocol. You know what I'm saying? So then I see on the Oscar Quintero, are the Dolphins really going for Cook or Henry? Where did you hear the Dolphins saying they were going after Cook or Henry? Did anybody in the Miami Dolphin organization say we're trying to trade for Cook or Henry? No. Did you not see the Dolphins re-sign all 4 of their running backs? Yeah. They don't have draft picks galore to go trade. So what would make you think that they're going to trade for those guys or spend any kind of money on them? Oh, I see. All the idiots that wrote about it because they've got nothing else to write about because they've got to fill time. But they baited you, Oscar, like they bait a lot of people. You know, as I've said, none of that's going to happen. If they want to release Cook And if Cook wants to take a lot less money, then yeah, I think Grier will bring him over. No compensation, no trades, and no big money. Now, if Cook wants to make up for the $10 million salary he may lose in Minnesota, he's not making up for it in Miami. That's all. So the only thing that Chris Grier would take is low-hanging fruit. If not, they're staying with their running backs. But the good thing is plenty of you get baited all the time with all of these stories that we just mentioned that never happen. Okay? There was a whole bunch of them the last couple of months, right? Wasn't Tua getting traded to Carolina, to the Colts, to Washington? They were trading for Lamar Jackson. They were trading for Jordan Poyer. They were all this stuff. None of it ever happened. None of it was ever going to happen. None of it was reality. None of it was talked about, but it was written about. Sure. Of course, you had, writers. I'm sure you had TV people. On local radio, QAM doesn't have anybody that breaks any stories there. So that maybe they talked about it, but nobody's breaking any stories there. Or I don't know, maybe some of you follow YouTubers that have zero insight on anything in the NFL, and so you probably followed up with that stupidity. Okay. Let me ask you something: if a YouTuber is not at training camp, not at the combine, not at the Senior Bowl, not at the owners' meetings, doesn't really have people on, how are they going to have insight? I always trip out on that. Because I get a sent on DM. Oh, this guy says this. And I'm like, never seen any of those people anywhere. I'm sorry. Who breaks stories? Non-media people break stories? No. Do you know why? Because non-media people have no access to agents, to coaches, to players, to executives. So why are you idiots retweeting or DMing me about people that have zero insight and zero connections to the NFL? They have as many as you do, and yet you're the one sending me something about some YouTuber that has zero connections. It's amazing. But there's a lot of you that get suckered, and that's exactly what they do in this world. What are you going to do? Hard Rock Stadium is built on sacred Indian burial grounds. Yes, exactly. And it really stopped the Marlins from winning 2 World Series titles. The Indians must hate football. They must love baseball. Yes, exactly. I love how one person,
There's the Cleveland Indians. There's no football teams named Indians.
Redskins?
No, but I mean.
Well, they were the Indians, and the Seminoles are still there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. And again, this is also, for Jules, one person, says something stupid, and then many people repeat the same stupid line about the Indian burial grounds. That's what I love. And they always leave out, the Dolphins can't win because it's an Indian burial ground. Well, then the Marlins win. So what's your problem? It's like, you got any excuses now? Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I guess that stupid reasoning doesn't work. True Fin Fan, thank you for the love on the super chat. Couldn't make it today. Overtime third. Oh, make that money, bro. Make that money. Just like that there's a nice dip right now.
Wait a minute. What
happened?
He's working overtime, but the corporate time-stealing weasels will listen to the show on overtime?
Then he's really smart.
Oh, man.
Don't you want to be him?
Yeah, Tua Tagovailoa's my favorite right now. I'm not going to lie.
Yes. It's overtime, and he's watching us and getting paid. He's the man. We're the schmucks. He's the man. True Fin Fan says, I have one source. I'm listening to it right now. Thank you. That's very kind of you. There you go. That's right. Sean. Karen says, per Florio, the Finns wanted to trade for a generic clone of Tom Brady using a mosquito that bit him and got stuck in tree sap like Jurassic Park. Miles Deep says, Oscar, you're reading it from Miami YouTubers. We don't have any money to sign those fools. Sorry, brother. Yeah, it's just funny. It just, people say all this crap and then, some of you repeat it and you don't really think about it yourselves and say, this doesn't really make sense. Bromar is back. The Marlins beat the Indians. Shouldn't the Indians have won then? Exactly. Wow. That might be the greatest text that Bromar Smelly has ever sent in right there.
I just blocked him.
You blocked him for a great.
No, I'm just kidding, Bromar.
Jafrard says, good afternoon, Big O. Omar, they let you back in. Yeah, we've got it locked and loaded and ready to go. TVD talk is crazy. Yeah. I just don't know how much of it is true and all that. Kind of sad. But again, I got to tell you something. It's not the end of the world. Okay. I don't want Tyler to go, but the Hurricanes aren't going to be anything special this year. So let's not make it sound like they were headed to something great this year. If they win 8 games, it would be a phenomenal season for this program. Jeff Pasme says, Big O, I saw both Tua and X and noticed Omar was back. Is Omar back to covering the Dolphins full-time again? Is he not involved with I Am Athlete? No, he's not in I Am Athlete anymore. He is with Sports Illustrated right now. Okay? Oh, and the Big O radio show platform. Big O, can the Cats make a run? I don't know about a run, but they got a shot in this series. Okay? All right, they're a good team. They got some talent. I don't know about a run, but let's see if they can pull this series off first. Okay, not going to be easy. Boston's been a monster, but the Panthers have. By the way, with last night's win, they are the winningest team against the Boston Bruins this season. Right? Nobody beat them 3 times. It was only a couple teams that beat them twice. Am I correct? How about that? Nobody's put out.
I believe they're the first team to beat them for 3 times.
How about
twice
that?
Has been at FLA Live Arena, which they're coming back to.
That's right, bitch. That's right. Nobody's mentioned that, huh? The Florida Panthers, baby. The winningest team against the Boston Bruins this season. Ha. So they can win this series. Let's see if they can get it done. Let's see. Orlando, all those previous Dolphin rumors were not true, but the Dalvin Cook, not true either. None of them are true. None of them are true. Like I told you, Nelson, Dalvin Cook has no shot at signing here unless he wants to take a serious pay cut. These guys aren't going to pay him a lot of money, and they're certainly not trading for him. So Dalvin Cook, if he's dying to play for his hometown, he's not going to make up his $10 million salary here. As I've told you, and you can go listen to the rant, and it's there, and I explain it all. He comes here by Chris Grier terms, nothing else. And I doubt he's going to want to do that because he's going to want to make money. The guy's been injured a lot of times in his career, so he's probably going to go somewhere where they pay him. And they're not going to pay him here. They don't pay running backs here. True Fin Fan says, hey, why am I a corporate weasel? You're a corporate time-stealing weasel. Let's get that right, okay? Nobody's calling you a corporate weasel. We're calling you a corporate time-stealing weasel because you are the best, because you're watching us while you're getting paid. You're the best, bro. There's nothing better than that.
Oh.
Yes.
The Bruins. Well, now I guess they've lost 13 games this season.
Aha.
3 of them.
To the Panthers.
Because during the regular season, they were 65, 12, and 5.
That 3 out of 13? That's what? No, not 40. It's like no, 10, right? Is it 13? No, about 15 maybe or something like that. I'd have to I need a calculator to figure that out. Oh, and a music surprise. Did you know who discovered Weezer? None other than Rick Ocasek. Really? Wow. Rest in peace. That's very cool. Very cool. Frankie Fresco, thank you for the love on the super chat. 23? 23%. Okay. I bet Mike McCoy has the Canes winning it all. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Mike McCoy for sure has the Canes winning 13 games, crushing Clemson in the ACC title game, and then beating Alabama by 76 points.
And that's without TVD.
Right, without TVD. Exactly. It's with Jakari playing left-handed. I'm glad Omar is back. I am athlete is a joke. B. Marsh. Oh, well, yeah. Hard to take Brandon Marshall serious. Yeah, I would. I definitely. I'm not. I've never been a Brandon Marshall fan. So, Bromar says I haven't watched a Panthers game yet, but they are more interesting than the Heat. But oh yeah, for sure, way more interesting. How have you not watched the Panthers, bro? Kachuk is worth the watch every single night, man. God, I love watching Kachuk. And Verhaeghe has had, he showed us that, he's got cojones. Last year, he showed it to us. And what do you have, 42 goals this year or something like that? Verhaeghe. I say it was like 42 goals. Yeah, dude. Yeah, he crossed the 40. I want to say it was 42 for Carter Verhaeghe this year. Yeah. Panthers are going to go on a 96 type run. Lion is a Beezer 2.0. That's high praise, dude. I covered that team. That's high praise. I was in the locker rooms and all those games. God, the Miami Arena was so awesome during that run. It was so much fun in that little bandbox that it was sold out and all the rats and everything. It's still, as a reporter, it was, I'm a football guy through and through, right? And I've covered all the sports, but it's always football is my favorite thing to talk about, cover everything, as you all know. But my favorite experience will always be that Stanley Cup run as a reporter. The funnest experience I've ever had was that entire playoff run for the Panthers. That was so awesome.
42 goals, 31 assists. 73 points.
Yeah. And when Ira gave Tyler the nod over Verhaeghe, I lost my mind on that one. Because I asked the question, who's the better third wheel? Right? Because Verhaeghe is the third wheel, right? On that team, right? Because you got Barkov and you got Kachuk. So he's the third wheel. Although some people might say they might Verhaeghe over Barkov, but whatever. Yeah, I know. But the thing is, Barkov's assist-wise, he's a beast. So that's the thing. But anyway, I asked Tyler, here's the third wheel, right? To Bam and to Jimmy. So who's the better third wheel? It's not even close. Not even close. Verhaeghe over Tyler every day of the week and twice on Sundays.
So Barkov was 23 goals, 55 assists.
Right, that's what I was.
And he only played in 68.
Right, yeah. He had some. Yeah, we had a stretch.
And by the way, Kawhi Leonard out tonight. By the way, game 3.
Really?
Yeah.
He's injured. Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, his knee. I guess he injured the knee in game 1 or something. But
Kawhi Leonard injured out.
That
never happens.
Never does.
Kawhi Leonard is.
He was averaging 34.5 points across 2 games.
I know. Yeah, he was playing his ass off. No, he's a hell of a player. We all know that. But dude, he breaks down like crazy, dude. Like all the freaking time, he breaks down. All right, let's. What are we doing? What?
Did you see Nelson's comment there?
No, I did not see. What did Nelson put? He says, I just saw Devin White at Fort Lauderdale Airport, and I saw Dalvin Cook there yesterday. It's South Florida, my brother.
Dolphins, baby. They're signed. If they're at the airport, they're signed. There's no way they're in Fort Lauderdale and not signed to the Miami Dolphins.
That's true.
Don't let them leave, Chris Greer.
All right, let's get to Alan Poupart and our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report.
Dolphins fans, time to get insight on your favorite team with your favorite reporter with an Expos hat. Sports Illustrated's Alan Poupart in our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report, exclusively on a Big O radio show.
There we go. There we go. Good afternoon, young man. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Shocking, right? That there'd be players in airports in South Florida.
Shocking.
Because nobody ever visits Miami from the NFL or lives in Miami.
Brother, if that was the case, all of our teams would be winning titles in every single sport all the time. Because maybe outside of hockey, I don't know. Maybe all the European players, maybe they're not hanging out in South Florida in their off season or whatever. But everybody else is here at one point or another, coming through South Florida. By the way, how wrong is Ira Winderman when I asked him who's the best third wheel in town, Tyler Hero or Carter Verhaeghe? Do you believe that he had the balls, and he watches hockey and he knows hockey, okay?
Yeah.
He actually said Tyler Hero over Carter Verhaeghe. Seriously.
He's the Heat writer, and he's sticking up for what he covers.
No, that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be objective about it. By the way, it's not even up for argument. That's how much I think Verhaeghe's better than Tyler Hero. Okay. I don't even think it's a discussion. I mean, that guy showed me last year he was a badass.
He was a badass in the playoffs last year.
Yes, bro. That's why I wanted, Hubie gone, and I wanted a dog in there, and they went and got Tkachuk. And Verhaeghe is another dog, bro. He's awesome, man. He's been terrific. That win last night, that was awesome, dude, because the best part about that win was game one. Because game one, they played well and they lost. So game two showed you that it wasn't fraudulent like the Heat. They were frauds in game one because Antetokounmpo went out. That's why they won the game, because there was no Giannis. And then in game two, they made their adjustments and they kicked their ass. To me, last night was proof that they can hang with this team. And by the way, we just realized this. The Panthers are the winningest team in the NHL against the Boston Bruins this season.
I knew that. Okay.
Well, you're Canadian.
I'm a puckhead. There you go.
Know that.
But I will point out, if you're going to mention dogs on the Panthers, and to me, the guy who was big last night, really, really big, was Sam Bennett.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, tell me he didn't make a huge difference for that team. I mean,
of course, bro. Yes, of course. And by the way, to your credit, we were talking about this at the Combine, and you said the Panthers, their real problem was that they were unhealthy all season long. And then on top of that, with the new system, and we really had never gotten to see the real Panthers. And luckily, now at the back end here, Duclair, now Bennett and all that, now they're actually healthy, and they've played Boston well this season. And look what's gone on in the first two games. So to your credit, you kind of called this.
And you know what I also said, and I was consistent about this from the start, from the time they made the trade, is they're going to have a tough time making the playoffs. But if they do, they're going to be a lot tougher out.
You said that.
Than they were last year. And then look at the goals they scored last night. There was no pretty four-way passing plays like they did last year in the regular season. It was Boston turnovers or shots from the point with somebody in the goalie's face. You score ugly goals in the playoffs, and the Panthers were a pretty team. That doesn't work in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah. And that's what you said, actually, to piggyback off of what you just said. When you said that comment, I remember, because you also said that their style would be more suited because of Maurice. They would be more suited for playoff hockey than compared to what they were, in the past, because they were obviously a finesse team, in the past. So, yeah.
I would make the argument that because of all the roster cuts they had to make because of the cap, with all the injuries / illnesses that they had, to me, them making the playoffs should get Paul Maurice at least a handful of Coach of the Year votes. I think the guy did a hell of a job. And I know there were some Panther fans halfway through the season who were ready to can his ass.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. Because it didn't look like it was a good hire.
Correct.
At the moment. And, again, but now remember, a lot of us, me included, we're not hockey savants like you are. And so it's just one of those things. And it's the Panthers' fault in a way, because if they were more consistently good, I think it would create more interest for everybody, and everybody would learn the sport a lot more. Although this is the 4th straight year they make the playoffs, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So they are turning the corner under Viola and Sifu.
They had the best record in NHL last year in the regular season. And not only that, they were so much fun to watch. Unfortunately, if the goal is to be entertaining, they should have stayed there with the same nucleus, but they weren't going to get very far in the playoffs with that formula.
Yeah, no, it takes a lot of balls too to do that. Seriously, because you're almost better off convincing yourself, like, no, hey guys, we were number 1 in the league. Let's just tweak it a little bit, and we'll be better this year. No, they went drastic, and that takes a lot of guts. And then, this is like Bitcoin going down to 16,000. You make all those changes, and the team looks like a disaster all year long. You know what I mean? And then you're kind of fighting out of it, and now it looks like you're headed in the right direction. Montour yesterday too, getting a couple goals. I mean, seriously, dude, that was good. That was good yesterday.
That was fun because I'm not no offense to anybody from Boston, but there's a little arrogance to their fandom. So just do a little bit of this.
Right.
It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah. They've had a lot of titles in that town over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
That's why that arrogance is there, because they win them in every damn sport.
That's true.
It's crazy, brother. They have had one hell of a run in that place. Tua yesterday, I think a lot of people kind of went a little bit overboard on it. If you really listen to him, he kind of caught himself in explaining he really wasn't thinking about retirement. He kind of brought it up that it's a conversation that he had with others, but in the end, you can tell that wasn't a guy that was ever going to turn it in.
Yeah, I don't know. Because here's the thing to me, and you can go a lot of different ways with this. To me, if he hadn't really thought about it, I don't think he would have brought it up.
He didn't bring it up.
Well, no, but he was asked. I'm saying he could have danced around the question, and he didn't need to be this candid. So I don't know. I'm not sure. And I think the parents, based on the interview that he had done with NBC after the Cincinnati concussion, where he talked about how his parents were kind of like, I don't remember the exact phrasing, but the parents were like expressing a lot of concern that maybe.
Concern, right. Yeah.
Well, you can only imagine what that conversation was like with his parents after the season.
But if you listen to it, you have it there queued again, Sean?
I was there. I mean,
I know you were there. I get it. But if you listen to him, he catches himself to kind of redirect what he was saying. And he kind of takes it in the direction of, yeah, we had that conversation, but in the end, I would never leave football. Because I want my kid, I'm paraphrasing, I want my kid to see me do what I do for a living, that kind of stuff.
But he also said, I was thinking about it for some time. There's the phrasing he used, so it wasn't just like a fleeting thought. So,
right. So play the soundbite. Go ahead there, Sean.
Consider that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I considered it. For a time, having sat down with my family, having sat down with my wife and having those kind of conversations. But
there you go. See, having sat down with my family and having those conversations.
It would be hard for me to.
And then, he goes into it would be hard for me and all that kind of stuff. I think he did that to appease everybody, to say, oh, I've had those conversations. Like he's giving you the meat on the bone for you guys to write and you guys to talk about, and all that because of all this fake, emotion for him. Like they actually really give a shit about him and that he should retire and all that kind of crap that people are spewing because they're all a bunch of phonies. Because nobody tells cops to retire and nobody tells firemen to retire. And nobody tells car racing guys to retire. And they're all risking their lives every single day. No. Barely anybody's screaming from the mountains of, hey, Damar Hamlin, holy shit, that guy died on the field. How's he coming back? Tua didn't even die. He kind of appeased everybody out there by saying, yeah, no, I entertained it. I had those conversations with my family. But then he goes right into it.
This dude is wired like any of those other people, like police officers, like firemen, like they love what they do. You weren't going to stop them from doing it. And the risk that they take, they're willing to take that risk.
No, I completely agree with you. I'm not sure if I'm on board with him, like throwing out that more solo. Okay, so for those of you who don't think I'm taking this seriously enough, here it is. I consider it. I'm not sure I'd go that far, but I completely agree with you. And I take the same offense that you do. Who the hell is anybody outside of Tua, maybe his wife, to a lesser degree his parents, to tell him, dude, you should retire. Think about the future, retire. It's his life. I mean, seriously.
Right. And you're going to tell the Walindas to stop being the Walindas?
To stop flying.
No, they fly, bro.
Exactly.
The Walindas fly. And that's it. And some Walindas are going to die, and some are going to fly. And you're not going to tell and so all these phony people out there, none of them care about Tua retiring or anything. For me, it's most of them that thought he couldn't play. And so now that they're wrong about him couldn't play, they're kind of using the injury as like my man Joe Rose does that. Joe didn't think he could play. And now that he was wrong about that, now he, talks about the injury all the time. And to me, that's kind of the crutch for people out there. Those phony people that are talking about the injury, it's most of them were the ones that said he couldn't play. And now that they know, they're wrong about that, they go in that direction.
To me, it's okay to express your concern that, you really hope he's not making like a horrible mistake or whatever. But ultimately, again, it's his life, his career, his choice. If he's okay with taking the risk and the wife's okay with him taking the risk, then who the hell is anybody else to say anything?
What did you think of ESPN with everything going on with playoffs and everything, and front and center is Tua in the offseason, in the middle of the playoffs for the NHL, for the NBA? There's baseball going on. Hell, there's a big boxing match this weekend. All this crap going on, and Tua has a press conference, and it dominates.
Yeah, and it was in the middle of the day, and again, unfortunately, his concussion issues, but the one against Cincinnati was just like out there for all the world to see. I mean, it was like, and it became such a big talking point until it was the big story of the NFL last year until the Damar Hamlin situation happened. And now Damar Hamlin was 2 days ago where he had his press conference, and I've been clear, I'm coming back. Well, it kind of piggybacked off of that, where, okay, we got Damar Hamlin, now we got Tua, who had the scary situations last year, and he's talking, and let's see where that goes. A lot of airtime to be filled.
Did you get anything of substance from Chris Greer and Marvin Allen?
I did. I got more than I've ever gotten, and some of it was messages that they wanted to put out there, and some of it was interesting revelation, because usually those pre-draft press conferences are like, I mean, let me watch you paint your house. It'll be just as entertaining, The Austin Jackson comment that he's our starting right tackle was interesting.
You weren't shocked with that, were you?
No, kind of sort. No, well, yeah, kind of sort of a little bit, because to me, but then it's one of those where, I'm struggling with my thoughts.
You're not compartmentalizing your non-belief in Jackson and then the belief of what you've watched all offseason, that they've basically told us, we like him. We're not worried. We're not signing any competition. We're all in on Jackson and Eichenberg. Like, that's what they keep telling us.
But they hadn't said that.
No matter how much, neither one of those guys has convinced all of us. Okay, right. And I'm with you on this. Like, Jackson hasn't convinced me. Eichenberg hasn't convinced me, but I am convinced of this. They're convinced they like him. That's for sure.
But they had never. They never. I don't think they had said it as forcefully with him as they had with Eichenberg. And to me, I don't like the idea. I mean, could it have been done as a show of confidence for Jackson, who's a guy? Some guys need reassurance more than others. I think Austin falls into that category. I think some of it was.
That's who they are anyways. That's their DNA.
Correct, but some guys need it more than others. And I still don't like the idea of not bringing in a veteran, a starting level right tackle.
I agree.
To at the very least compete with him, even though give Jackson the first reps. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
But if there's some hesitation as to how well he can handle the job, then you have somebody else. Somebody else there. The Cedric Wilson comments were interesting, trying to do right by Cedric Wilson.
Yeah.
That's one of those like, oh my, he might have just told us I'd love to be able to trade him,
I think that's been the case from the get-go. But again, I think that's kind of cool on his part, because that kind of sends a message to other players and agents that, they kind of screwed this guy because they signed him and then they brought in Tyreek. And so now, while he's getting paid, he didn't really get to showcase his skills like he wanted to. But at the same time, they're not just dumping him in some bad team in a bad situation just to get rid of him. By him saying they're trying to do right by the guy, I think they're also trying to send a message around the league that, hey, we're trying to do things the right way too, by the players and by the franchise too. So I think it's kind of a dual message that was being sent. Yeah, we'd like to move him, but we also want to handle things the right way for the franchise and for a player that really had nothing to do with this scenario. It's not his fault that Tyreek Hill became available. You know what I mean?
No, but it's his fault that he didn't show enough to where the Dolphins would be like, oh, we need to keep him on the roster. We'll gladly pay him his cap number if we know for a fact that guy's a clear third option on this team. We need to keep him. The fact that
I just think we're a little. I just think some of you guys, like you there in this case, I think you're a little unfair with the guy, because he was competing with two guys that knew the system inside and out. The coach already had favorites with those guys because he likes both those guys. And you're not really playing much as a third receiver as it is on this team. So there really aren't a lot of opportunities for Sherfield, for Craycraft, and for Sed. And so it's almost like he was at a disadvantage at that point. You know what I mean? And they might have been practicing him more on the outsides anyways to fill in for those guys than playing him here, kind of like what they did with Dieter. Dieter was not practiced at guard last year. I don't know if people know this. Dieter was held completely at center last year, just in case something happened to Connor. They kept him in the mindset of center. So I'm wondering if they did the same thing to Sed, where they kept him only on the outside and really didn't give him as many opportunities inside. I'm just saying.
I don't remember that exactly. What I do remember was, and I watched every single solitary training camp practice, I remember being massively underwhelmed by what he looked like and thinking to myself,
that's fair.
Oh God, they paid what for this guy?
It's fair.
So yeah, I'm not totally.
No, wait, Chase Edmonds was a good player.
Correct.
Didn't look good here.
He looked good. He looked good in training camp, and then all of a sudden he dropped the pass. His confidence got shook, and he was never the same guy.
And he was in the wrong holes too.
Yep.
Top of all of that, You know what I mean? And he was a good player in Arizona.
He was.
Sometimes
very, very good complimentary player. Yeah, I didn't. I'll be honest with you, Big O. I hear where you're coming from, but I honestly didn't see it with Wilson. And
I just want to give him the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? I just want to give him the benefit of the doubt for last year. I want to see how he handles it this year, because there is no Trent Sherfield now. So you only have to deal with Craycraft. So what happens now? You know what I mean? We'll see.
Well, what happens now if they get any kind of offer for a team and then they don't have to retain most of his salary, he's gone. I mean, that's what's going to happen. If not, I'm curious to see it, and I will go into training camp with an open mind and see what he can produce this year. But I didn't see anything last year that to me came close to justifying the contract they gave him.
You when you were on earlier, they had not signed Chosen yet, right? It was just after, correct?
No, we talked Monday, and they signed him over the weekend.
That's what it was. Okay, so we did talk. Okay, all right. So what do you got working on Sports Illustrated, so folks can check you out? And when is the next Omar and Poupart video?
That actually came out today. It's available now on alldolphins.com, on YouTube. We had a story today. Oh, I know you're going to love this one. Omar did a column dissecting the Tua comments about the retirement discussion. And we're going to have a whole bunch of draft stuff as well. And then I did something because, like it or not, it's a story. And you and I actually had discussed this. We're on the same page on this. Tom Brady spoke at an event in Miami today. The MC asked him, well, now that you live in Miami, would you consider coming out of retirement to play for the Dolphins? And he completely tapped danced around the question, saying something like, I have some good friends on the Dolphins. Never said no. And in my story, he is 2023 Jay Cutler. If you remember 2017.
Right. Yeah.
Something happened to Tannehill in training camp. The phone call, they didn't go to Matt Moore, who was a more than capable backup. Adam Gase called Jay Cutler. Something happens to Tua in training camp early in the season. Tom, what do you and he certainly didn't shut the door down on that idea with his tap dancing around the question.
Yeah, I almost feel like at times he wants to stay relevant. That he's in that mode right now that he's falling out of relevance, and so now he wants to stay relevant by, throwing stuff out there and stirring it up. And by the way, one of his friends is no longer part of the organization.
If you look on, then they need to update the Dolphins.com website because he's still listed on there.
Well, no, he hasn't divested, but that doesn't mean that he's really a part of it. You know what I'm saying?
No, but he mentioned players. He said I have some Dolphin players that I will root for. Trying to figure out who that might be because I'm looking at.
Rose gone.
Who?
Rose gone.
He played 1 year with Justin Bethel. Would that really be?
And Landon Roberts is gone.
Braxton Berrios, he played with him in New England also. Those are the two who played with him in New England. Could it be other guys that he met through NFL circles, like more prominent guys, maybe Tyreek Hill, maybe Teron Armstead?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think who it might have been. But he specifically said, good friends who are Dolphin players, I'll root for them. So, but actually, I'm going to take issue with does Tom Brady really need to worry about remaining relevant? He's starting on Fox next year.
Football wise, yes.
He's starting on Fox next year with a contract that's 8 years or whatever, however long his contract is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think to me, it's more the idea that he wants to keep everything open as a possibility. So let me not make any, definitive statements.
Okay. All right. We'll see what happens.
We shall.
All right. Follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. And as always, catch him twice a week doing his thing here. And check out the latest podcast between him and Omar Kelly. Were you laughing when Tua said they let you back in?
Everybody was laughing. It was very funny.
Tua was good yesterday, by the way.
He was very good.
Really good. Like, you could tell Tua without Flores in the building and Tua with McDaniel in the building. Like, it is so much better for you guys, too. You know what I mean? Because it was almost like, I don't know, he was walking on eggshells all the time under the other guy. Here, you get to see the real dude. And he was really good with you guys yesterday and all the questions. So I thought that was actually
he's a lot more open. He's a lot more, you can tell he's a lot more comfortable in his skin. The fact that he's got a coach who's
allows him to be comfortable.
Well, I was going to say loosey-goosey, but that's not, you know what I'm talking about. He's more laid back. The fact that he also had success last year, all of it helps,
Yeah, it's great for you guys. You get to cover like real human beings now. Absolutely. Instead of a machine that you covered for a couple of years with Flo. All right, follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. Poupart, have a great weekend, my friend. We'll catch up next week.
Yes, sir. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, sir. There you go. Alan Poupart, baby. Poupart NFL. Catch his work there at Sports Illustrated. Bookmark alldolphins.com. And when it comes to EJD Construction, Dade or Broward County, and a lot of our friends in Broward County, you are having issues with all the flooding and everything going on. Call EJD Construction if you need to rebuild and redo those homes. Major home construction, custom home construction, major home remodeling. Call Eric, 305-433-4843. Save it on that cell phone, 305-433-4843. and they're fully insured, liability and workers' comp, so you don't have to worry. Everybody that works on your property, if they get injured, they're not suing you. And listen, if you don't hire EJD Construction, okay, whoever you do hire, make sure they're fully insured and make sure they prove it to you that they're fully insured. Because if they're working on your property and somebody gets injured, that person can sue you, okay? So you need to make sure you hire people that are fully insured because that protects you, the customer. Call Eric right now. This is the owner's personal cell number, 305-433-4843.
You've been listening to the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins Report with Sports Illustrated's Alan Poupart. For additions, home remodeling, and custom work, call Eric at 305-433-4843. EJDconstruction.com is your custom home builder and general contractor you can trust. 305-433-4843.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com. Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Number 3 from beautiful Hialeah Park. By the way, George Mejia there on the chat board, he goes, I thought you and Joe Rose were cool. Big O. We are cool. But what, I can't call him out on the Tua thing? That doesn't, dude, I call out my wife. So what do you think? I'm not going to call out Joe Rose? I call out my wife. Okay, buddy? I mean, of course, I got nothing but love for Joe. But he was wrong about Tua. That's all. Pretty simple. He said he couldn't play. Said he was too short or, arm or whatever the hell it was. And now he leans on the injury thing with all the sensationalism behind it. So, yeah, that's all. It's all good. Hey, bro, by the way, we all are wrong on a whole bunch of things. I've been wrong on a whole bunch of other things. So, it's not a big deal. Got nothing but love for Joe, but he's wrong on Tua. That's all. No big deal. How you doing, man? Steve Calabro is in the house.
Big O, you might come across the table. No, Sean might come across the table. You might be holding me as you guys start punching me. What I'm going to talk about.
What do you got?
Oh, man. This is like only Caesar, right? So wait. So I was, in previous podcasts, I've said, listen, the definition of insanity is not, is doing the same thing over again and expecting a different result. Amen. You have a very good comeback in that he didn't call the run game enough. I get it.
Right.
O-line should be improved or could be improved. However, there's this guy here. I don't know who he is. Mike Gallagher. I'm not even sure who he is, from Yardbarker. Apparently, and I apologize in advance, apparently agrees with Steve Calabro, right? And he says, these are the best and the worst offseason moves for the Miami Dolphins. Best, obviously, Jalen Ramsey, great move, right? Signing David Long.
Fangio.
Yeah, Fangio. And now what's the worst? Not improving the RB room. That was somebody. Now, that being said,
did he write in the article that the other running backs average over 4.5 yards carry?
He did not. But wait a second.
It's kind of hard to do a story without all the facts. Does he work for Fox?
Wait. It gets better.
Is that what it is? He's a Fox. Is he a Fox host?
No, he's MSNBC.
Okay. Well, almost as bad. But
yeah, I think they only do stories on Trump. It's like the Trump network now, and they're not positive. But there's another worst. And this one might
liverwurst?
No, this one you may not talk to me for a couple of weeks.
Okay.
I'm just going to read you the title. Okay. So there's two worst: not improving the RB room,
and the offensive line's the other one.
Losing both Mike Gesicki and Hunter Long. I brought it.
Oh, that guy lost all credibility in my point. He brought up Hunter Long. Can I just rip it up? I mean, that's it.
Oh, forget about Hunter Long.
Wait. No. He wrote Hunter Long. Who is this clown?
He's not
Michael Gallagher. If I ever run into that guy, I'm going to say, you think Hunter Long is a loss?
No, but
no. Gallagher was the comedian.
Straight
It was
Gallagher.
Just Gallagher.
But listen,
and he's no longer with us.
What I do agree with our friend Michael Gallagher is we're promoting Michael Gallagher now on the Big O Show. We are now promoting Mike Gallagher. The RB room.
Dude, he put Hunter Long in the.
Forget Hunter Long for a moment.
No, I can't forget it. I can't forget Hunter Long. If he put Hunter Long in the article, the article means shit.
But the whole article is mostly about Gesicki.
No, you don't miss Hunter Long.
No, you don't. All right,
his mom doesn't miss him.
Wait.
His dad doesn't miss him.
I got a better one.
Boston College doesn't miss him.
I got one better. So you asked me a question. No, he asked me a question. He said, well, what running back would you get? And at the time, I didn't have a perfect answer. But this other guy, I don't even know who he is. Let's see who he is.
Gallagher's brother?
Yeah,
Tommy Gallagher?
Mike Gallagher's cousin, Kenny Teape. Another Yardbarker guy, I guess, right? Yeah, deep. I'm going deep, right? Wait.
So, you're reading a guy named TP.
TP. I'm sure I'm pronouncing his name wrong when poor Mike. But so what's the answer to Big O's question? I'm going to read you the headline. This blockbuster Dolphins Titan trade proposal lands Derrick Henry in Miami. It's just another example of somebody from Yardbarker.
No, it's an example of it's the off season. They have nothing to talk about.
Yeah, that's true.
So they're just making shit up.
But the same
so
shit that
same
shit that Steve Calabro's making up.
Yeah, exactly. But at least you can make it up. You don't run a website. You're not you're just throwing stuff out to have some fun.
Exactly.
This guy's actually doing it for business.
We're making a living. Yeah, making a living. I just thought it would be interesting to bring some factoids.
No, those aren't facts. He put it in Hunter Long.
No, I didn't say facts. I said factoids. Those are different than facts.
Tannehill packaged in there too.
And listen, I subscribe to a very simple philosophy. Don't ruin a perfectly good story with the facts.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyhow, I just wanted to lead with that because I thought it would be interesting that there's probably two people that would probably enjoy these literary works of art. So that being said, what would be the next topic?
Hey, when's the next car you giving away?
So we have something. It's not a car. I'm gonna tease you. Not a boat. I can't.
A house.
It's
a condo.
Put it this way: you could. I don't. I want to tease it. I'm not sure if I should be able to. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you what it is.
You guys are building a shed here that somebody can live at.
It's better. It's 10 times better than that. Remember, the key word is 10.
10 sheds.
10 nicer than sheds. So it's our 10th year anniversary this August.
Oh, okay.
So this August we're coming up with a very, very cool promotion.
10th year that the casino's
been open.
Okay?
Casino at Hialeah Park.
Just in case.
Yeah, the racetrack's been here 100 years.
100 years, yeah.
I think next year is 100 years.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's 99 or 90, 98.
Winston Churchill was here.
Jackie O and Joe Kennedy.
I'm still more impressed with Winston Churchill.
I tell you, Jackie O's pretty impressive to me.
Yeah, but Winston Churchill came across the pond.
She was Jackie Kennedy, not Jackie O.
Yeah, but but that man came across the pond, bro.
He's coming from a long way. Yes,
yeah,
he did.
We're talking about like one of the biggest figures in the history of history.
But
hell, they named the cigar after the man, Churchill.
Can I just they helped name the whole racetrack company? But can I just ask you a question about Jackie Kennedy Onassis? So I used to see her wear the sunglasses later in her life.
Right. She was stoned all the time.
Right. She was always wearing...
Like rock artists.
No, see, I have a different theory.
Oh, you don't think she was high?
When she was Jackie Kennedy and a very attractive young woman. I thought she became even more attractive as she got older, for
it happens.
Things. But I think the sunglasses were because she was on Jackie O's largest yacht in the world. And she needed sunglasses. She didn't need them with John. Right. John didn't have any, he had money, but...
By the way, J-Lo's like that, too. She got better looking as she got older.
Yeah, like, unbelievable. Like, J-Lo, just really...
Look,
there's also...
You look at her as a fly girl on In Living Color, and then you look at her now, and you're like, damn, dude, you're like way better looking than you were when you were
she's
a teenager.
Certainly has
20s.
been, doing pretty good. Now, a lot of people that are naysayers will say hats off to the doctor, but I think there's some natural, there's a lot of natural beauty. Yeah, she puts work into it too.
I don't, I've heard people say that, and of course, there's the people that are just cosmetically put together. I get it, Kardashians. But there are others like a J-Lo
who works at
it. Of course, they're going to have some doctors, but you can't make her body that way in a cosmetic place. You got to work it out. It's got to be in a gym to look like that. You know what I'm saying? And
can I tell you a story about that? Credit. It's Taj Mahal, Atlantic City. We got Tina Turner. She's in her 50s.
Another amazing legs.
Right?
The best legs
You're
ever.
not going to believe this. Legs Hosiery, Hanes Legs Hosiery is sponsoring the tour.
Okay, makes sense.
She goes out on stage. I book her at Taj Mahal. I'm the charge of marketing, entertainment reports me. And I swear to you, there's 5,000 people there. People go nuts. She sounded fantastic. And I looked around. I was standing in the back of the room, and there's about like 20 men of all ages, 20-year-old guys, 80-year-old guys, literally with their tongue out.
Of course.
Like in awe. And believe me, they probably sold a lot of stockings. I can tell you that because she looked fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
She always had some of the best legs
She was in the mid-50s. She sounded great. She looked great.
And she was in great shape.
Yeah, it's just a fantastic.
She always took care of herself.
Yeah,
she always looked great.
J-Lo before she was, J-Lo before,
yeah,
sort of like before J-Lo's time. But
yeah.
Anyhow, now we're going to switch over because I can't take too much time here. But poker, I got it tomorrow. What happened? We switched right away?
Well, poker?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, what are you?
I'm sorry. Boy, so I was teasing
anniversary,
it. So I did tease it, and that's a real tease. So I really teased it well.
Yeah.
When you don't get it, you really get teased. But anyhow, so I'm reluctantly going to say it. So we're going to do a promo in August, and we're still working out the ins and outs, the details. Down on the casino floor, see $1 million, win $1 million.
Wow.
We're going to display $1 million. How many times have you seen $1 million?
A couple times. I was a money officer in a bank. So
Okay,
that's
so
the
a
only
couple
reason
times,
why
right?
I was.
Sean, yourself, have you seen $1 million in the last 10 years? Yeah. Right. So most people in their life really haven't seen $1 million recently, myself included, right? And I work in a casino, right?
I've never seen $1 million of my own dollars. That would be nice.
Yeah, I've never seen that either. But so it's kind of a very unique situation where we're going to have a big safe, like the size of like a refrigerator. It'll be bulletproof. There'll be police armed guards there the entire time, and we're going to display $1 million. And then there'll be an opportunity for guests to take a number guess, and if somebody hits the right number, they win $1 million. Now that's a 10. Now we're going to do some play on 10.
What is it, like some big bowl that has a whole bunch of beans
It's
it's
an electronic number game. It's sort of like an electronic lottery, like an electronic lottery.
Okay.
And there'll be chance, yeah. And there'll be, we do some special stuff. We're still working details that are going to be around the 10th anniversary too. 10 winner, 10. Not 10 winners.
We literally have to do the show right next to that thing.
Absolutely. You
So
can
we
do it in front of $1 million.
Yeah, so we can. Yes.
Yeah, in front of $1 million.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, I mean,
that'll be cool.
You can,
yeah,
you can back your
and
chair.
everybody else can watch.
I want
$1
your
million
chair
bucks.
to be. See how your backdrop is like about
Right.
3 feet. I want it to be a foot from the $1 million.
I
Or
love
6
it.
inches. 6 inches.
I love
He's
it.
this close to the $1 million.
I love it. I love it. I can't wait.
So that's the so we.
I'm going to build an illusion of $1 million too to replace it.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
I'm going to Copperfield your
Guys
ass,
are be
boy.
coming from the ceiling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'll request that the armed Hialeah Park policeman be a little closer to your chair, and watch Sean at all times. He's got some electronics there. So it's going to be a fun promo. You give away a Mercedes, you give away an F-150.
Alfa Romero.
See $1 million, win $1 million. So pretty cool little thing.
That's very.
How many people in Hialeah have seen $1 million in the last 10 years?
Out
of 240,000 people.
I would only say a politician, maybe.
Well, it's hard to see in the brown bag. It gets a little distorted.
Yeah,
in the
but
brown,
the Hialeah politician at one point will open that brown bag, so he's going to see it.
Oh, that's not nice. That's not. Why do they say that?
I would not that I would insinuate that any kind of Hialeah politics are twisted. I would never do that.
Listen, we have great political leaders here in the city of Hialeah. Here.
Is Martinez still the?
No. Esteban Bovo.
Bovo, that's right.
He's
Bovo's
a very nice gentleman.
Bovo's been at it for a while now here, right?
A couple of years, but he was in the county commission for many years. Many years, and look, he's a down to earth, very, very, very good guy, and he's got the city of Hialeah. He wants to do the best he can for them, and I think he's a really good guy. But I want to move to the next topic now that I've teased the $1 million.
By the way, I give Hialeah mad props because obviously I lived here for many years and went to high school, went to Hialeah High, and our streets were a disaster when I was in Hialeah High. Now the streets of Hialeah are super clean. They've got sidewalks all over the place. They've got the sewage, the parks. Like it is a night and day Hialeah.
Yeah. It's an unfortunate
crazy how it is from the Hialeah that I grew up in to this Hialeah. It's not even the same. It's not anywhere.
Often misunderstood. It has a sort of a rap from when it wasn't, when it needed some improvement. But it's a really great city with a lot of great people in it. With great hearts and want to have a lot of fun, and it's great to be here.
It's a good town, man. I've always enjoyed either living or hanging in Hialeah.
Hanging in
Hialeah. Hung out plenty in 49th Street. That's for damn sure back in the day.
So do you know the comedian Fluffy? Gabriel Iglesias, right? Yeah. So he's filming. This is a few years back. He's filming a Showtime special, and I'm in the audience in Hard Rock, right? It's in Hard Rock.
Okay.
And he says, he starts bringing up Hialeah. He goes, hey, and he has that guy Martin, the Martin. He goes, my man Martin, he took me out last night. We went to Hialeah. This is a national special, right? And then he goes off and on. There was apparently some mixed company at the party. It was quite a fun group, and it was like this whole thing about how a Mexican comedian, Gabriel Iglesias, comes all the way to South Florida, and where he had the most fun was in Hialeah, Florida, and he didn't hold back. It was quite. I'm sure they had a blast, and they were.
Hialeah High was a blast of a school.
It's just a cool little town, you know.
I partied.
Cafecito.
I partied like an animal at Hialeah. All right.
You partied at like an animal in a few places.
Yeah,
I don't think it's limited to your high school.
No, but my high school years were a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Listen, the last thing I want to just talk about is we got some great poker promotions, right? Great poker promotions. Tomorrow, we're giving away $4,000 in the high hand. $4,000 so per hour. $4,000 hourly tomorrow. I mean, if you play poker, you got to come.
Right.
It's just like it's a no-brainer, right? I mean, and I just want you to know that we did that 2 weeks ago. We've done it. It's a new promo. We've added last couple of months, and tomorrow's the big one. And come on down. So
okay,
that's it. I started with the and I have to almost make a promise to you.
What's that?
I'm going to have to limit the amount of times over the next 6 months, particularly once the football season starts, that I bring up the running game and Mike Gesicki. I won't bring up Hunter.
Well, you gotta let go Gesicki because he's not a blocking tight end, and McDaniel.
So make him work. Make it work in the offense.
It's not who he is. It's not who he is. You can't. You've had employees that you can't motivate, and you know they're lazy.
No, he's motivated,
and then you get rid of them. No, but what I'm saying is there are things you can't fix in life.
Yeah,
and sometimes, and with Gesicki, it's just. That's the thing you're not ever going to fix.
He's almost like a slot receiver.
There's a lot of them like that in this league. It's not like this is a problem of Gesicki. That's just the tight end problem is like that. It's either you're a blocker or you're a pass catcher. It's so hard to find the guy that does both exceptionally well.
Yeah.
They're really hard to find. So when you find them, there's only a couple of them. But because McDaniel has this thing that my guy has to be able to do both. Because that's the way he wants to sell his offense to the defense. He wants to keep them guessing. And so you can't do it if the guy's more one-dimensional one way or the other. There's nothing to sell there. And so that's why he's like that. And then it's the same thing with the running game. Chris Grier has not shown that he needs to go out and get a first-round running back or go out and pay for a franchise running back or any of that. Every time he has gone to middle or late rounds for the running backs, or when in free agency, he doesn't ever spend anywhere. And last year, they didn't spend, and both their guys were super productive. It was more on Gesicki and the offensive line, the issues, than anything else.
Would you do this? I'm just asking you. He says no, right? Would you give up our first pick, which is 74th, I think, right?
No, 51.
54th? 51. And then his second pick is
84,
80 something, right? 87 or 84. Would you give up those two picks for Derrick Henry?
No.
Really? I would.
Yeah, the problem is that you now have to give up those two picks and a new contract for a 29-year-old. Because he wants
running
a new
back, 29-year-old running back. Yeah, he wants
with a lot of mileage because
well, he carries the ball.
And Saban used him like a monster too.
Yeah.
So he has been used a lot, and you don't know when the bottom's going to fall off. I get the whole thing with the running back and the love affair with it and all that. And listen, I've even talked about this myself. He's not a pass catcher.
No, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit.
That's wrong.
But that's why you got you got Rasheem and Jeff Wilson.
That's wrong. Last year he caught 33 passes.
Oh, he did.
They threw him the ball more than ever last year.
That's because Tannehill couldn't reach anybody else.
Well, they did. You're right. Actually, they traded their number one,
right?
AJ Brown of Philadelphia. So Traylon Burks. That's it. He wasn't ready yet. But here's the other thing. Now that he's not the biggest pass catcher in the world, so then how do you think Mike McDaniel is going to feel about a guy that's one-dimensional back there?
Yeah, I get it. I think a good coach can sort of adapt, this mystery Mike McDaniel plan.
I haven't seen him do that.
I know. Maybe that's my point. Maybe he should have slightly adapted. When you're stubborn to something, it's a bad scene. That's a bad scene.
I agree. I agree. He got stubborn with the passing game and didn't go to the running game enough.
Didn't call the running up. I get it.
And he's stubborn about Gesicki that he's remember the last month of the season he was forced to use Gesicki more. And what was Gesicki doing? Making plays.
Yeah, doing.
But you can't change a human being. So he's telling us who he is. So I'm telling you that
he ain't
because of
changing.
who he,
He ain't changing. Which is
think about this. I want you all to think about this. So you decided to bring back Gesicki. Okay? Now, it goes two ways. Here's the father, here's the son. Father's working his ass off all week long. He makes money, pays the bills, pays the house, Kid wants a toy. He loves his son. Buys the toy for his son. His son breaks the toy within the first hour. Kid kind of just, I broke it, whatever. Dad's like, pissed? Bro, I work hard. I just bought that for you. You just broke it. You just wasted, same thing here. Here's Chris Grier going, well, dude, you want to bring him back, but you're not using him. I'm paying him $10 million.
Yeah,
and
man.
You're breaking my toy.
Not using my toy. It might be worse than breaking it.
So think about this. He knows Dad bought him the toy for $10 million, and he's still not using it. So then if he's willing to not use it, just like the kid discarded the toy that Dad just paid for, then you have to then cater to what the coach wants. And so the coach, if you see a draft pick this year at tight end, I guarantee you
might see it. Yeah,
I know it, and I guarantee you he will not be a one-dimensional tight end. He will be a guy that blocks and catches, guaranteed, because that's what he's told us. Because that's what he's done with Kittle, and that's what he has done in other spots. And so this is what they like to do. This is the way they like to sell their offense. They have to be able to be interchangeable. So your backs have to be able to block, run, and catch. Your tight ends have to be able to block and catch, and so this is why things have to be that way so he can sell it. Your fullback has to be able to catch the ball and block.
All I'm saying is, like you did when you were calling out Joe Rose, which I respect, and he's a friend.
He's terrific.
I'm just calling out McDaniel for the running game a little, and I'm calling out Grier for, maybe it's Grier and McDaniel for the Gesicki thing.
It's all Grier.
Yeah, I think that's
it's all
McDaniel.
McDaniel.
So I'm calling
all
McDaniel. I'm calling McDaniel that I believe one of the hallmarks of a great coach is that they can slightly adapt their master plan to their player. But
Spo, look at Spo.
Yes.
No matter what shit they give him every year, even if they give him 5 journeymen, he finds
somehow,
a way to He does something and figures it all out. And Shula did the same thing. Oh, I got Woodstock. Well, then I'll work with Woodstock.
Yeah.
I've got Marino and I had Greasy, 2 different offenses completely.
I make the adjustment.
I'm working with it. You know what I mean? I watch that man do that all the time. So I get what you're saying. These guys, they're set in their ways, man. And they want to run the offense a certain way, and he failed to adjust.
But I'm going to give McDaniel. I'll leave it with this. I'm going to give McDaniel a little credit. It was his first year, and 5-10 years from now, we might be saying, "Wow, McDaniel actually is a little different coach than he was those first 2 years." He's going to learn too. He's going to learn a lot. I'm not saying he's going to change to, and he doesn't have to change to what Steve Calabro said. That's the last thing in the world I'm saying. But let's see. Let's see what happens. I'm hoping for the best. I'm paying monthly for my season tickets. I'm going, let's go Fins, and I'm on board. I just think those are 2 things I'm slightly calling out the head coach on. And look, he's
fine.
So far,
that's
so
fair.
Good. So far, so good. He's a very good coach.
Oh, he's done a good job.
First year, and let's see, the second year looks like it could be even better.
Yeah.
So anyhow,
it's just stay healthy and hopefully make some noise in the playoffs.
So tomorrow, $4,000 an hour in the poker room.
Let's
12
do it.
to 8. There's an idea.
Poker players, let's go.
And this summer, come on down. Take a look at $1 million.
That's right.
Not too hard on your eyes.
And when you win 4,000, you cash Big O show. So, Cash App or Venmo, cash Big O show, man. Drop a little commission there to me. So we gave you the heads up. So
because you got them there.
That's it.
It's because they're listening to your podcast, so they're just paying a little bit of a finder's fee. It's a finder's fee, we'll call it.
That's it. We made a lot of money for people that are following us in crypto. I'm not seeing any gifts here. What's going on? What's going on here? Vegas has $1 million on display from time to time in different casinos, says Jules.
Actually, let me explain what that is. So Vegas, the Horseshoe Casino, has had $1 million. That's where I got the idea years ago. Vegas has $1 million on display. It's in a plastic little container in the back of the casino. It's not a chance to win $1 million. You can just go see $1 million, take a picture with it.
Oh, okay.
And I've done it, and it's very cool. It's kind of cool, but we're going to be a little more jazzier than that, and a little cooler than that, and a chance to win $1 million.
Right.
So we're just taking what we're doing is we're taking an old Vegas idea, and we're modernizing it, and we're
adding Hialeah sauce,
a little bit of Hialeah hot sauce.
There you go.
That's it.
There you go, Jules. So you can go take a picture, in Vegas with $1 million, or you can actually try to win it here in Hialeah. There you go. That's all. That's it. All right, brother.
Big O. Be good.
Appreciate it, as always, man. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Sean, and see you around.
You got it, baby.
You can help us put the $1 million in the safe when we.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
We're gonna have some lot of cameras on that one.
A lot of
Do you
cameras.
have any pockets in there? Let me check all your pockets.
I will be coming with cargo shorts and and all kinds of other contraptions.
If you want to know an insight, I always give you inside casino tips.
I'm gonna be I'm gonna date myself now. I'm gonna be the James West of casinos. Yeah,
James
like Wild
West.
West.
Oh.
He had all those pockets and everything all over the place.
I'm gonna give you
we're gonna hide everything.
I'm gonna give you a behind the scenes casino thing.
What's that?
So we have a team that empties the machines. It's called the soft count team. They collect the money from the machines. When they come to work at like 4 a.m, they have to get into overalls, and it's from the neck down, and everything is sealed, no pockets.
Wow.
So
you don't do it like they do it in New Jack City in the Carter. Did you ever watch the movie New Jack City?
New Jack City.
I'm just saying. I don't know.
Apparently, I haven't. I missed one.
Wesley Snipes is a drug dealer, and he takes over a apartment building called the Carter in New York, and then they sell crack there, and everybody goes to buy the crack there, and so damn it, what was it that you just did?
Overalls.
Oh yes, so while the crack was being developed and everything in the main offices to sell it, everybody was working naked.
Well, we don't do that. No, we put overalls on.
I'm just saying, because that's another way you can't hide what you're trying to steal because you're naked.
Well, if we if we had an all-female soft count team, perhaps it would make some sense, but not with the crew we have. Not the crew we have.
No. Yeah.
Good crew, a great crew, I may add, and do a great job, but overalls are just fine.
Okay. All right.
All right.
I mean, listen, if you ever run out of overalls or whatever, you just say, well, everybody's got to go butt naked because we got to make sure you're not stealing anything.
We'll count tomorrow.
That's it. I mean, hey, listen, it works for Nino Brown. It could work for you. I saw it in New Jack City. All right, Steve.
All right, be good.
Love you, brother.
Thank you for the tip.
Appreciate
there.
it. Nino Brown, man. I'm telling you, the Carter. It works. Edward Thurston Howe, Oakland A's moving to Las Vegas. Yes. And I don't think it's 2027. I think it's 2025. Isn't it? Because isn't their lease up one more year? Aren't they done in 2024? I think
they're going to get an extension because they can't get the stadium, I believe, built and
years?
everything until 2027. I believe.
Oh, so they got to get an extension. Okay.
Yeah, because they're looking at property right at the end of the strip.
No, they purchased it already.
I mean, they purchased. I'm sorry. Yeah.
They purchased the property already.
Yeah. So,
and by the way, this was the inevitable. It was never going to stay there. Oakland is not a major pro sports town. Okay, this is not the 60s. This is not the 70s anymore. We're well into the 2000s. There's a lot of money involved. You got to have TV rights. You got to have strong local broadcast. You got to have the population. You got to have the people that can spend the money in your town. And Oakland just does not possess what it takes to be a pro town. So there's no shock that the Warriors moved, the A's are leaving, and the Raiders are gone. Okay? None whatsoever. San Francisco, on the other side, I've lived there, so I know the difference between the two. Night and day. Oakland has no business being a pro sports town at any level. The fact is, you have people that may want to defend it because it's the past. It's the history. It's been there.
so we should keep it there. No, you shouldn't. Because fiscally, it's not the kind of city that can support big-time teams. It's a minor league town. It's what it should be. And it's probably what it will be, a developmental for, G League and minor leagues, and that's what it probably deserves more than anything else. It's not a real pro sports town. So the fact that the A's are moving is not a shock, and it shouldn't be a shock to absolutely anybody. By the way, I do have one more thing I want to get into, but we'll do that after the one and only Omar Kelly, baby. It is time for the EssentialMovingExperts.com Miami Dolphins exchange with the one and only Omar Kelly.
Time to talk aqua and orange, Miami Dolphins fans. It's the Essential Moving Experts Miami Dolphins Exchange with Omar Kelly. When you're looking to move your home or business anywhere in the U.S. from coast to coast, call Essential Moving Experts at 305-602-8369. Flat rates and no surprise charges. EssentialMovingExperts.com. 305-602-8369. Let's talk Dolphins football. Here's Omar Kelly.
Right. There he is. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
I'm okay. Had better days, but I'm still in the fight. That's what I'm talking about.
That's all we can do, bro. You can't give up, bro. Giving up isn't an option whatsoever.
How you been?
Good. We're at the casino here in Hialeah, so we having a good time. Okay. Yesterday, did you have a good time in the Tua Tagovailoa press conference?
I you know what? It was a very odd space for me because I haven't been back in the Dolphins press conference in months. It was good to be well received. A little odd, the Tua statement and all the controversy that it created. I don't think people get the fact that, I've been in locker rooms for 15 years. You know what that nature of ribbing and jokes is like in the locker room. And fortunately for me, I've always been viewed as one of the guys, so I got that kind of natured ribbing. So it doesn't make a difference to me. But a lot of fans took it as Tua hate for me, which they didn't.
Well, it's just one of those things. And for those of you that don't know, so yesterday, while Omar was at the press conference, Tua recognized that Omar was there. He was back in the mix. So this was Tua's response to Omar when he saw Omar there at the press conference. Go ahead, Sean Stanley.
They let you back in? Dang, my man. Okay. Good to see you.
Damn. Listen, they didn't see when Xavier gave me a hug and was like, "Yo, bro, good to see you back," or And Tua at the end of the press conference said, "Hey, man,
we know you and Xavier were boys. We already knew that one.
We're boys.
We've established that one. We've established that one here on the show many times over.
Why are you saying we're boys?
You're his second agent, David Canner, and then you're like the assistant agent for Xavier Howard.
I have no idea what you're talking about. But let's continue to move on.
And of course, and for those of you that don't know, because you might be catching up, okay. So Omar obviously has stirred it up because of the whole Tua thing. So when he was leaving the beat, okay, and he was on X's and Omar with Dave Hyde, he stirred it up again with the whole Tua thing. And I think that's why Tua was having fun with him. Go ahead, Sean. Fire away. Here we go.
What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Here we go.
Okay.
And so if you can, Sean, can you pull up the X's and Omar excerpts?
They're not interesting. You just think they're juicy. Go ahead. Tell me what
juicy, interesting, insulting, twisted, weird. I don't know, however you want to call it, but you had a a very colorful way of describing the franchise quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. Sean, if you can, please
we need a
pull
little
it up.
couples counseling right now. We need a little couples counseling. I don't like the way you lead. You have to do a better job as a leader. You have to do a better job. Tua, I'm out the door now. Tua's a weirdo. His teammates look at him as a weirdo, and it's okay to be a weirdo, but you can't just be a weirdo and not connect with your team. You have to be a weirdo, but still find a way to connect with your team.
All right, so you've changed your point of view on that, right?
I stand by every single word I said. I stand by every single word I said. Weirdo might be a little bit harsh, but Tua's a little odd. Tua's a little odd. You will acknowledge that, right?
No, we're odd. He's normal. That's the part that you don't understand.
We're odd.
We're the odd ones. He's actually way more normal than the rest of us. We actually should act more like Tua, be more decent like Tua. The rest of us, we do all kinds of crazy shit. That dude is a good dude. He's just a good human being,
dude.
bro.
He's a phenomenal dude.
Exactly. So there's nothing weird about him.
No, he's a little bit.
No, my brother Antonio Brown is a weirdo.
That would be
Kanye West is a weirdo. Ryan Leaf was a weirdo.
No, Ryan Leaf was a druggie.
Well, whatever. He weirdo. He was a weird. He was screaming at a reporter for no reason at all. The guy was a weirdo.
That's a totally different.
But that's weird. Antonio Brown is weird. That's
weird.
Going
back to Alabama, his teammates would describe him as unique. He's a little different. Let's acknowledge that.
Yeah, you know why he's different? No. See, the thing is, we have a problem with the Tony Gwynns and the Cal Ripkins and the Derek Jeters and the Tua Tagovailoas and the Tim Tebows. We have a problem with people that carry themselves in a perfect fashion. We think they're weird, when it's really we're the weird ones. Those people are the normal ones. They're the ones that know how to act like decent human beings in every way, shape, and form. In any situation, they handle it like gentlemen. And it's not what you and I do. We lose our cool. We say things we regret. We say things that hurt other people. We do not keep our cool at times. We do not handle things the right way. We criticize the perfect people like Derek Jeter. We criticize the boring people like Cal Ripken. It's just something that we do. Tim Tebow, he's not weird. He's just super normal, bro. We're just not, and maybe a little more religious than most of us. Okay, that part, yeah. But he's just a really decent human being in every situation. That's something that you and I struggle with. Most human beings struggle to be decent human beings or do things the right way in every situation. These kind of people do it all the damn time. And that's what's odd to us.
Maybe. I mean, I would never deny the fact that I'm a weirdo too. I'm a little different. As are you.
Yes.
I guess I'm looking down on Tua because he tries to be extremely normal.
Because it's easy for him to do it. That's what pisses all of us off. That these kind of people, they know how to handle, like Tony Gwynn, bro. When did you ever see him lose his cool? Like Cal Ripken. Like Derek Jeter lived in New York, bro. Went out with all kinds of women. Yet everyone else that's in New York that's famous gets in trouble, picks up the wrong women, hangs out with the wrong people. Yet Derek Jeter, every single time, handled it perfectly. And he was boring to people. You know, but that's kind of we're an odd society, bro. We treat weirdos wrong or weirdly or whatever, and then we treat really normal people like they're weird because
deep down inside, we all wish we could be just like them and handle everything so damn perfect every
Okay,
single
so where does Ryan Tannehill fit in this whole conversation? Because
Ryan Tannehill's a terrific young Ryan Tannehill's a terrific young man. That's never changed. He's
you're
just never
portraying it
he's
as
just never
a
going
guy
to be a
who does
franchise
everything
quarterback.
right is normal.
But Tua does things right, but he's exceptional at being a quarterback. Tannehill will never be exceptional.
Okay. This whole conversation. That's not his fault. I mean, this whole conversation.
That's a whole different. That's a whole different conversation. But I just feel like we treat people that handle everything the right way. We don't treat them fairly.
So let me ask you this question. Okay, and I wrote a column, basically saying that what you confess to or disclose to the world, which is that you considered retirement, you should have never said under any condition.
He didn't really consider retirement.
I know. I heard your spiel.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily agree. He discussed it. He thought about it. For half a second.
He gave it to you all to entertain yourselves with it. And he said, "Yeah, I entertained it. I talked with my family about it and all that. That guy was never ever quitting. That was never in his mind. He never questioned it. He was never leaving football. What he did was entertain it for his family and his wife and everybody else that was going to ask him. But he was never going to quit at no time. He just fed the bullshit to you guys on that. I don't think you listen to him. He catches himself.
You cannot feed us the bullshit. You can't.
He did.
I did, which is what makes him weird. You cannot feed us the bullshit.
And that guy was never going to quit. That guy was never even.
I know he wasn't, which is why it was preposterous for him to say, "I thought about it."
Because I think it's the question since it was going to be asked, and because so many.
That was going to be asked. And you said in your mind, the good thing to say is, "I thought about it."
So many of the phonies out there, like they actually really give a shit about him and they care about his health and all that bullshit, which is all a bunch of crap.
Well, why would you give them something? Why would you give them fuel?
Because it kind of puts it to rest already, since everybody's talking about. Oh yeah, we had that discussion. I discussed.
No, it doesn't. Now, anytime he gets injured again, injured again, it's going to be. He considered retirement before. Are we going to retire now? Is it time for Tua to every time he suffers a concussion for the next 10 years? Is it time for Tua to retire? Why is he going
to suffer another concussion? Maybe he'll never suffer another one again. This was only 1 year in his career where he had a bunch of these issues. That's it.
You're correct.
So why are we assuming this?
I mean, but we could go the Trent Green scrambled eggs scenario where
we could. We
don't know.
We could end up with Steve Young, and but then again, we could end up with
concussions against Steve Young.
Yes, Lawrence Phillips actually killed him on the last one. They needed a running back. They signed him coming back from NFL Europe. He had 1,000 yards. He missed the block. That was the last hit that Steve Young took. Lawrence Phillips retired Steve Young. He could be Sidney Crosby, who's had 6 or 7 of them. And has a Hall of Fame career and championships.
We discussed that today on the podcast. I'm curious, at what point in his career did Sidney Crosby have those concussions, and then
all throughout. Ask Poop. Poop knows more hockey than you and I will ever know put together. Ask him. He's had several concussions throughout his career. Sidney Crosby's been dealing with concussions since the beginning of his career, all the way through.
You know what's something that
that dude Chris Nowinski. He said the key, because he's an expert at that stuff. He says the key and why Sidney has had such a long career, it's because any concussion that he's had, he's given it time to rest and kind of dissipate and go away. What we can't do is what we saw this year, where you play him and then 4 days later he plays again. That's the kind of shit you got to avoid.
You know what? Something, and I'll have this conversation with you because it's a safe space here. I have battled migraines for the past 2 years.
Me too. I had them too when I was young, but I had polyps in my sinuses. and
Yeah.
they got rid of the polyps, and I got rid of my migraines. Check for polyps in your sinuses. That's what was giving me migraines when I was young.
Thank you for that tip. But I've thought about it. Okay, what suppose after Green Bay? Yeah, tough hit. You wake up next day, you got a migraine. You got a little bit of brain fog. What we all deal with in migraines. And I'm not saying it's not related to the hit, but how are we? And I'm not excusing it or saying that CTE or this isn't a dangerous sport. How do we know for certain that what Tua isn't experiencing isn't related to something else?
I mean, now you're reaching, bro. We're not doctors.
I'm just saying.
I know, but you're assuming stuff now that we don't even know if there's any truth to it. If that's the case, we don't have any access to his health. We're not doctors. So
how do they tell the difference between concussion effects or a player? Dwayne Wade had migraines, or maybe Dwayne Wade fell too hard on the floor too many times and gave him. How do we know? How do we know these things?
They go to medical school, Omar. They figure those things out.
I
I just told you, I had migraines when I was a kid, and when I went to get checked out, they found polyps in my sinuses. So they eliminated the polyps, and since then I've never had migraines again. I've had a couple bad headaches, but not like I used to when I needed to be in a dark room with Tylenol codeine. I remember I used to take a lot back in the day, and I would have to be in a dark room, God, for hours. Hell, I remember I used to put Vicks Vapor Rub on my forehead. Do Vicks Vapor Rub on the forehead and the sinuses, and that would be one of the things that would help me relieve my migraine.
Sunglasses in the room. Like, how do we know? Like, how do we know these things different than we do? Yeah, you take a CT scan at the beginning of training camp, and you do a baseline brain activity test at the beginning of training camp. But how do you know what you're suffering from those headaches isn't related to something else?
Neurologists will figure it out, my brother. I mean, that's why they go to school, and I'm sure also when you suffer head trauma, there's got to be effects from something like that. And then when you have headaches, it's something different, So it, they'll again. That's why those people go to school, to figure that crap out. You and I aren't smart enough to do that.
I remember Jimmy Donaldson in school. His son plays for the University of Miami offensive line. He hit me one time. Playing football, knocked me out, gave me a big old fat cocoa on my head, concussion, and I was just and I was never the same since. And I'm like, that's one concussion in when I was 10. That it's weird.
Yeah, it definitely is. You pick up anything from the Greer Marvin Allen part of the press conference yesterday?
Yeah, plenty of stuff. The depths that they went to really convince themselves that Chosen Anderson was the right route to go. That was very.
I thought that was interesting that they spent that much time with a guy who I don't think he's even going to make the team.
He's a good player. If he buys in, trust me. I know Chosen. I've talked to him. I've dealt with him. I have been convincing him not to come to Miami for the last 2 years because he's wanted to be here for a very long time. Trust me, if he buys in,
he's got talent.
He's a talent. He's a smarter guy than people give him credit for. He's South Florida, bleeds South Florida, loves the Dolphins. And
to his credit, lately he has stayed away from the knuckleheaded things that he's done in the past. So hopefully he has learned. But to be honest, unless Cedric Wilson is moved, unless there are some injuries, I don't see him making this roster.
Oh my God, he's the number 3 receiver on this team right now.
He has no shot at making the roster right now unless those things happen.
You are sadly mistaken,
brother. They're not going to count on the unreliable.
When has he been unreliable?
Throughout his entire career, he's been unreliable because he's done a bunch of dumb things off the field at times.
I don't factor. I'm not factoring in the off-field thing.
Oh, you got to factor on-field, off-field. That's the way it is. It's been an up and down.
Does Mike McDaniel look like he's going to have a problem coaching a character?
It's not McDaniel that I'm worried about. I'm worried about Anderson. I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about the player.
He doesn't drink. He doesn't drink. He's not that type of guy. Yes, he's had run-ins with the cops, but trust me, that's not something.
Well, listen, that's just the bottom line. You can't. He's had run-ins. He's had problems. These are the facts. But at the moment, he's not going to let go of the guys he has now for him. So for me, the top 5 guys are locked in. You're either going to have to.
He just called Braxton Berrios a punt returner in his press conference.
And yes,
Chosen Anderson's going to be behind a punt returner.
Yes, because he has a specialty.
Chosen Anderson and Braxton Berrios were on the same team, and Braxton Berrios didn't even make the team. Bro, trust me, there ain't no competition. And I like Braxton Berrios.
It's 2 different players.
No.
Yes. One's a slot receiver / returner. That's not what Anderson is.
I got this from a guy on Twitter. I think CK Parrott put it out there. Chosen Anderson's played over 1,000 snaps in the slot. 1,000.
No, I get that. I get it. Well, of course, because he's not really a frontline player. Really, he hasn't earned that kind of right.
Oh, he was a frontline player with the Jets. Don't be disrespectful. He killed the Dolphins for multiple games. Don't be disrespectful.
So,
bro, 1,000-yard receiver with Teddy Bridgewater in Carolina. You act like that's easy to do in the NFL. It's not.
How many receivers were on that team?
I can't tell you the depth chart on that, but he was a frontline guy.
Yeah, they didn't have much there, bro. You got to throw to somebody. And that's 60 yards a game. 1,000 yards is.
We're gonna come back to this just like we came back to the Mike Gesicki is a good fit for the Dolphins conversation multiple times over and over again.
Yeah, but Gesicki doesn't fit this guy's scheme. That's a whole different ballgame.
Last year, you were like, "Oh, they'll make it work. They're gonna teach him how to block."
I never said that they would teach him how to block. I never said that.
They were making it work. Okay.
I would never say that. You should make. Well, he actually, the last month of the season, he actually tried to make it work, and you could have made it work. That's bad coaching by Mike McDaniel.
Are you kidding me?
No, it's terrible coaching by Mike McDaniel.
I am not changing my offense for Mike Gesicki. I'm not.
Well, see, I'm not. And that's where you're a bad coach.
Oh, my God. Mike
hold on a second. So let me ask you something. So, Shula ends up with no quarterback, so he's got Woodstock. What do you want him to do, bro? You got to work with it, right?
Ball game. That's a totally different.
It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter what it is. Okay, Eric Spoelstra. He's got a bunch of journeymen there, Whiteside and Dion Waiters.
The second most productive big play offense with the number 1 with Tua as the quarterback. Sixth.
You're not understanding me. You
want me to change it from Mike Gesicki?
Yeah, when you don't have the talent to do whatever it is you want to do as a coach, and whatever ingredients you have left, you still have to be a chef. You still have to make a meal.
Yeah, and he's going to play 400 snaps.
And so then you have to find. So somehow or another, he used Mike Gesicki in the last month of the season more than he did the rest of the year, and all Mike Gesicki did was make plays for him. Okay. Mike McDaniel, who I love as a coach, was irresponsible this year with the running game. At times when he had a chance to keep running, he chose not to. He made bad decisions at times. Not using Gesicki was a bad decision on his part.
He disagreed.
He had a playmaker there, and he refused to use him.
I am not putting Mike Gesicki on the field as a tight end. Maybe I put him on the field as a slot receiver, but I would rather Trent Sherfield.
Bro, I don't care if you call him a chef, a third wide receiver, a fourth wide receiver, a tight end. I don't care if you call him an H-back. The bottom line is he was a playmaker. Get him on the field to help you
make plays. And that's what they did at the last part of the season.
Offense.
Huh?
And telegraph your offense.
Okay, well, whatever it is, if the guy can get open. Doesn't matter. I watched it with other quarterbacks that you knew they were throwing to Gesicki, and he still would make plays.
He made contested catches. Come on, Mike Gesicki wasn't getting open like that. Let's not. We'll see what the Patriots.
Catch is a catch. My man, I almost saw him catch 3 balls in one game with one hand. He caught 2 of them, almost brought down the third. I've never seen that in my life. And
great guy catching contested passes. I'd prefer a guy who gets open.
He's a pass catcher. That's what he is.
Yeah, he is.
Well, then use him that way.
A glorified, tall, slow slot receiver. Yes.
And he was going to out-jump most safeties and corners that try to cover.
Yes, because he's only going to be covered by safeties. He's never going to be covered by a tight end, by a linebacker, because the minute you put Gesicki on the field, I'm in my nickel package because I ain't got to defend the run. Right. So I'm not telegraphing my offense for Mike Gesicki.
I know. It was terrible in that comeback against the Ravens when they telegraphed it right into the end zone.
They were playing hurry up. Yes, you put Mike Gesicki on the field when you was in a pass. I got to pass. Yes, pass situation.
I know. It was so terrible watching that play. God, yeah. Because everybody else on that team could catch the ball 15 feet in the air. Yeah. Yeah,
okay, he could do that. No denying.
And who defends that? And who defends
I'm not
that?
Changing my offense for that. Situational player. Mike McDaniel runs.
Omar, when you don't have the talent, you do adjust and change things.
They didn't have the talent enough to be the
if I have George Kittle
without Mike Gesicki.
If I have George Kittle and Mike Gesicki is backing him up, then I get what you're saying. But if I don't have George Kittle and my most dynamic player at that position is Mike Gesicki,
you're saying that if Mike Gesicki's taking Durham Smites snaps, they would have had a better offense.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. The guy's a more dynamic player. He's faster. He can get downfield.
Bullshit. I defend you completely differently if Mike Gesicki's on the field.
Well, yeah, I know because Durham
and then Tyreek ain't as open as he usually is.
I don't know. I don't know how many defenders you have that'll be 15 feet in the air with Mike Gesicki. So yeah, you can go ahead and cover me with whoever you want.
Fight this out a whole lifetime. This is ridiculous.
Burn every one of those guys.
Oh my God, that's why he got $6.5 million to sign with the Patriots.
You would have hated Dwight Clark.
No.
You would have hated Dwight Clark. He wasn't there to block, bro.
Don't do that. Different offense.
What? It's a pass-catching offense. Pass-catching tight end.
They ran the ball too. The 49ers ran the ball too.
That has nothing to do with Dwight Clark. That had to do with their 5 all-pro linemen that they had there.
All right, you give me 5 all-pro linemen. You can have Mike Gesicki as your starter.
Dwight Clark is not going to be blocking the hell out of people for the run game.
Mike Gesicki, it wasn't blocking the hell out of people. Mike Gesicki wasn't blocking.
Exactly.
I found where Mike Gesicki was actually blocking and did not take a major L was a victory.
I saw the Chargers back in the day run the ball plenty of times with Kellen Winslow Sr. And Kellen Winslow Sr. Kellen Winslow Sr. couldn't block a cold. Okay, he couldn't block a cold, but Kellen Winslow Sr. was a badass pass catcher. Okay.
I don't remember.
If and they had this is before your time, but whether it was Natron memes or what was the other guy?
Like the Hall of Fame, and you just compared him to Mike Gesicki.
I'm telling you, tight ends that didn't block,
bro. Guys who weren't good at blocking, maybe they didn't block often, but they still blocked. Mike Gesicki could not block, could not at all.
Those guys that I talked about right now weren't known for blocking at all either, bro.
Weren't known.
They're known for pass
cannot do it. Okay. Weren't known for it is different than cannot do it. Mike Gesicki could not do it. We're going to see. He's going to have a dynamic season with the Patriots because Bill Belichick's such a great talent evaluator.
Well, for tight ends, he is actually. That's the only thing he picks right. He can't pick a wide receiver for his life, but man, he can get tight ends. He's had tight ends there throughout his entire time that have been serviceable.
Yeah, because
and excellent and Hall of Famers and murderers.
He said he reset the market on the last 2 tight ends he signed, and basically not to say that
they're good tight ends. It's not his fault, whatever. But those guys were all right. It's just they don't have great quarterbacks right now. They don't have Tom Brady anymore, but they've had tight ends. They're pretty good at over there. They've done a pretty decent job, unearthing tight ends.
It's fair.
That's
fair.
Yeah.
Mike Gesicki's going to resurrect that career.
Well, I will say this. He will get balls there because he is a conservative quarterback. I'm talking about Mac Jones. Mac doesn't take a ton of chances. So he's probably going to throw a lot to the tight ends and the backs. And plus, by the way, they're not really loaded at wide receiver anyway.
Yeah, no. Mike Gesicki's a slot receiver for New England. So it'll be
whatever, bro.
Yeah, I know. You don't care. You don't care.
Whatever, it doesn't matter, man. Right. You're hung up on a position that there's only like 6 or 7 guys in the entire league that can actually block and pass catch at an elite level.
There's like 7 in this draft that can block.
Yeah, right. They're going to get one of those.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's another thing I took from the press conference.
For sure, they're going to get one of those here. They've been set. You have to get one of those here. You get them cheap for the next few years, and you get the guy that they want, which is a pass catcher and a blocker.
If you can get one of those guys, that means you're probably going to have to spend 51, and I think 51 might need to address offensive line there. The Austin Jackson endorsement, which was not a surprise to me, it's what you had to say because Austin Jackson's needed his confidence boosted. That was a takeaway. I thought the fact that they're going to try to trade Cedric Wilson and do what's right by him. That's a dead giveaway that they're going to trade him to a team that he probably wants to go to. So maybe they'll send him back to Dallas for a 7th round pick and pick up some of that salary. These are what my takeaways from the press conference yesterday were. I thought Grier was very adamant about telling you what he wanted you to know, which was, hey, we're thinking about moving up in the 1st round. Everybody in the NFL, which translation, everybody in the NFL, call me. Let me hear what those offers are.
That you believe that he ain't moving up in the 1st round.
Yeah, I know he ain't moving up, but he wants people to call him. And
he just threw that out there. Yeah, we'll keep all our options.
No. He wanted to throw that out there. He wanted to throw that out there. Hey, I've gotten some calls about moving up. It's a weak draft. Everybody in the 20s wants to get out of there and pick up more picks or whatever, or future picks. He's letting you know, hey, I'd be willing to send you a future pick for your 1st rounder, which I think is not a bad idea if you got a Darnell Washington pegged in as an absolute monster who's going to help your offense.
Okay.
You trade next year's 1st for the 24th or 25th pick. It's not a bad route to go, but it's got.
I can't argue with that.
He's got to definitely be a guy that you absolutely will stand on the table for. A top 25 talent in this draft.
I don't think he'll do it, but I can't argue with that suggestion.
Yeah, I don't think he'll do it either, but he wanted to let you know that he would do it. That's my point.
They kind of let you know that they leave all options open.
No. He didn't talk about. He didn't talk about. Yeah, I'll trade down and pick up extra picks. No, he said, I potentially want to get up. People have been calling me. So all you other GMs who might be thinking you want to get down, holla at your boy. Holla at me.
He didn't say it like that, bro.
Yes, he did. I'm translating. I'm a Grier translator, Big O. You ever seen, what was that? Key and Peele, the Obama translator? Grier was like, hey, you want to get down? It's a weak draft.
Dolphins. He's Fox Newsing it right now for you, okay?
Holla at your boy. Call me, man. Other people have offered me deals. Let me hear what you got to say. That's what he did. He did that, Big O. He was like, I'm glad you asked me because I want to talk about this.
By the way, I will say this about your boy. I was shocked that X, is healthy and he had no operations. Because I thought for sure that dude was getting operated on one of those groins because
it was his nut sacks, bro. What you gonna operate on your nuts for?
I don't know. I don't know. That's sports hernia or growing injury or whatever the hell happens down there. I don't know.
It's time.
he looked like a shell of himself. You could tell he was injured. Like, it was so obvious. When he said he was healthy, I was like, wow, he didn't need any surgery. I was actually shocked that X didn't need surgery because he looked like he was hurting badly.
Hey, it's better the balls than the knee. So
yes. He hasn't had whatever treatment he got a few years back. They did good by him.
Cadaver put in it.
Yeah.
So he's good there. I didn't even know this because I wasn't paying attention close enough. But he said he injured it week one ball. Then he injured the other ball week 2 because compensate. And boy, that's a recipe for disaster. You're trying to get shut. You probably should get shut down from that point.
That's why he couldn't move laterally at all. That's why they
but you kept having him shadow the best receiver.
Well, they had nobody, so it was just one of those where he was screwed.
Bro.
And then you're playing a lot of man, like he was talking about on those groins, and
it don't make no sense. Which is why Boyer had to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, they didn't have a secondary at that point. X is out. X is half of what he is. Byron's out. Brandon's gone. Nick Needham's gone. Nobody was making up for that secondary, bro. Nobody. That defense was toast once that secondary went out. Watch that front seven now with Jalen and X healthy and that safety back there getting 8+ interceptions this year. You're going to see that front seven be nasty as hell. Now.
That would be ridiculous if he got 8.
But he's getting +8 this year. He doesn't have to play, what's it called, chaperone this year and watch everybody, and he really didn't get to play his spot. Now he gets to attack because he has X and Jalen just taking each side out.
You know what? I gotta watch.
Those quarterbacks are going to have to work the middle of the field more, and he's going to eat, and he's going to eat a lot.
I am going to have to watch Vic Fangio's final season in Denver, or probably the last time he was a defensive coordinator, which would be Chicago.
Yeah, that's right. Because because he got the job.
I mean, he wasn't a defensive
when he went over to what's it called, Denver. He ended up becoming the coach. You're right.
Yeah, I'll probably have to watch Chicago to see how he calls games because you're not going to really tell when he's a head coach. Like, it's going to be the shell of what he wants to run, but he's not the guy calling the plays. Because I'm curious to see what his approach will be, and especially he's probably going to have to alter it with the talent that he has. But no, I probably need to watch Denver because he's got Chubb there. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be good. It's kind of one of those bend don't break defenses, and that's why they got the 2 corners. So they can just, choke you and force you to be perfect all the way down the field.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think that the safety is headed for a monster year because the 2 outside guys are going to eliminate the 2 top receivers. And so in the middle of the field is where a lot of the work is going to be done by quarterbacks, and you're going to play right into his hands. I'm telling you, he's going to have an all-pro year this year, not a Pro Bowl year. An all-pro year. Watch.
Probably, maybe. I don't know. 8 interceptions. That's a lot, though, bro. That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have to. What are you going to do? Go after Jalen and X?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He set it up perfect. They're setting it up where you got to work the middle of the field. Because what are you going to do? You're going to go after X. If X is healthy, then he'll have a whole bunch of interceptions. And then Jalen, are you kidding me? And then with Jalen here, that also helps X too, because those 2 guys are going to motivate each other to be, freaking the best in the league. That's going to be a lot of fun. Watching those 2 guys, they're going to push each other more than even their competition pushes them. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch those 2 guys play. I mean, practice. How fun is practice going to be with Waddle and Hill and Ramsey and X?
I think X talked about that or something. I can't remember. I can't remember verbatim, but yeah, he talked.
Yeah,
about
I remember. You're right. He did talk about that's going to be.
Yeah, they're all competitive dudes. Yeah, I mean, last camp, I mean, X really was spotting practice, and he'd go defend Tyreek and just that, and then he'd get off the field, which I don't disagree with, because I don't want X practicing either. I just
right. But we're going to see some of it, and that alone is worth the price of the drive to camp for those fans out there, just to get to see that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And watching Tua, have to complete passes against those two guys with his two guys. That's going to be a lot of fun this year. All right, what do you got going on in Sports Illustrated? I know the video was released today. You and Poupart sparring.
We did the podcast breaking down the press conference and everything that was said. I've got a column up about Tua and how he should not have ever said what he said, for the reasons and why he's still playing, which is money. Let's not mistake this. This is money. He's not walking away from $100 million lottery ticket. Like, you're not. And also a breakdown of what's going on with the tight end position, which clearly seems to be the dead-on favorite for one of the top two selections, if not the motivator behind Miami moving up.
Yeah, no,
which
definitely.
Which tight end do you want again?
I already told you. Come on.
I can't remember. Kincaid?
Tucker? Kraft.
Oh, Kraft. Okay. I'm gonna look again.
Yeah.
He
might be there in the third.
Yeah, it was all right. It was third round. For me, and I've been asking a lot of people this. I've truly been asking a lot of people this. Which tight ends would you wager right now are going to have multiple Pro Bowl seasons in this draft class? Those are the guys I want. That's who I want. And it's just like this draft class of tight ends. Everybody has a different answer.
I know, but it all depends on where you land too. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? And it also depends on the player. Evan Ingram, poor guy. He was a sack of injuries with the Giants. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew it.
Not factoring in injury.
Everybody knew that Evan Ingram would be a hell of a player if he could actually stay healthy. Guess what happened?
And I asked that question because I like Musgrave.
Right, but he figured it out in Jacksonville, and he had himself a Pro Bowl season in Jacksonville. He could never do that with the Giants.
He's still not a good. It's not a blocker, which is why they still probably have to address the tight end position. Stop it. You need to block, Big O. You need to damn well block.
There's only a couple of those guys, Omar. There's not
32 of your job, Big O. 2/3 of your job at tight end.
They don't grow on trees, bro.
2/3 of your job, Big O.
I get it, but most of the league doesn't have one, Omar.
I don't care. Okay. Go get one. 2/3 of your job at the position, Big O.
Hey, listen, for 20 plus years, I've wanted them to get a quarterback, and they've, finally they got one,
so competition
just happens, bro.
Put your name on a Pro Bowl tight end. Tell me the guy who's going to have 2 Pro Bowl seasons.
Oh, I like Washington to have 2 Pro Bowl seasons because he's such a beast.
Oh, fucking monster. He's a monster.
Yeah, he's a monster.
He's slow, even though he times fast.
You don't have to be really fast. You just have to have body control. You got to know how to use your body against the defender.
You got to have acceleration. You got to have to in those tight spaces. You got to be able to move fast, quickly to create the window for the quarterback to throw. And can't just be a lumbering downfield big target. Now I'm fine with that if he's going to be a blocker.
Well, you can be a lumbering target if you know how to separate your body from the defender and the ball. Yeah, if you know how to work that, then you'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? Because there are guys that aren't necessarily the fastest in the world, but they know how to get. Hey, Gronk lost his speed in the last couple of years, but he still found
get open.
Right, he still found ways to get open and get his body in between the defender and the ball, so he can get separation and use his size to his advantage. And that's what Darnell's going to do. He's going to use his size to his advantage, bro. Ben Coates wasn't fast, but you weren't going to get around Ben Coates because he was 6'7". You just can't get around that kind of shit. Now he was your kind of guy because he could also block.
That's a good comparison. I didn't even think about that. Ben Coates is a good comparison for him. I like him. I think he fits here.
He's Ben Coates.
He's just not going to be a weapon. I'm throwing to him maybe 20 times a season.
To Darnell?
Huh?
To Darnell, you said?
Yeah.
Darnell?
Yeah.
20 times in a season?
Maybe 30. I'm not.
You can't draft him that high and not throw him the ball, bro.
Bro, that guy is gonna maul people as a blocker.
No, I know, but you got to throw him the ball, bro.
I mean, sometimes, maybe
20, 30. That's like 2 passes a game.
Bro, that's what. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm lying. That's Mike Gesicki got 50 targets, right?
That's because they didn't use him. That's not his fault. I mean, they didn't use him. They didn't want him around. I mean, it's like the GM says, "Hey, let's try him," and the coach said, "Okay, I'll try him," and then he never tried him.
He did try him. He didn't like him, bro. Gesicki never fit.
No, he's dead set on his ways. No, McDaniel's dead set on his ways. He is like you in that sense.
He's not stubborn.
He's stubborn.
Bro, they put him out there in training camp and they saw that he was such a liability as a pass blocker. They're like, all right, nah, we're not doing that.
Really? Did you need that to find that out? Because I didn't need that. I knew what he was. Just use him for what he is. Don't try to make him what he's not, bro.
Yeah.
No,
I'm trying to look up how many.
Don't try to make me the host for News World Tonight, bro. That's not gonna work.
You know how many targets Durham Smythe got last season? 20.
More.
20.
Probably. Oh, look at that. Wow. Because you know what? The year before, Flo used him more than.
Oh yeah.
That's
he
what
played like 700 snaps the year before. 41 targets. 34 receptions. Durham can get it done.
Oh, he's a solid player. No, he's a solid player. He's a perfect number 2. Perfect.
Yes.
Number. Perfect.
Now, do I add Darnell Washington as a number 1 and then make him a pass catching tight end?
Well, the Penn State kid's pretty good too, by the way. He's got some ability. The other guy that I like is
Darren Strange. Yep.
Yeah, Strange. Yeah. But the other guy that I like is who's a pretty good pass catcher. Now I'm brain farting.
Braylon Wilson? No, Willis.
No, give me another name.
Luke Schoonemaker.
Oh,
the NFL top evaluator. He says that the Dolphins are obsessed with Luke Schoonemaker from Michigan, which makes sense, Brian. I mean, Steve Ross. Steve Ross loves him, a Michigan man. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. I don't think they're going to use 51 there, but I'm sure they're fine with whatever they can settle on 84.
I'm trying to go to the damn. Oh, here it is. Jesus, went to the wrong one.
Musgrave. Nobody likes Musgrave.
Why am I brain fart? Laporta.
Yeah, Laporta. I didn't know you were talking about him. Yeah,
that's who I brain fart. Laporta. The Laporta kid is also
he fit in well here, and he fit well.
Very intriguing. Yeah, very intriguing. The Laporta.
I just don't see that. I don't see that.
Those 2 guys that I like, Kraft and Laporta, are probably the guys that you could probably get right around the 3rd round.
Oh, Laporta's not going to be there in the 3rd round.
You think he's at 51 or gone, right?
Yeah, he's 51 or gone.
Yeah,
and I'm there's a chance, and that's what Daniel Jeremiah said. There's a chance Darnell Washington will be there at 51.
Oh no, I don't think so.
I think so. He doesn't move well.
I know, but he blocks so well.
I know
that it's like Smythe.
I would make him a right tackle. I saw that transition with Eric Winston. I would make him a right tackle.
But it's like Smythe, that when you got him, he was more of a blocker than a pass catcher, and then you developed him. And I think that's what's going to happen with Darnell. They're going to want to, because everything else is so dominant. Okay, we'll make him a better pass catcher, and then we have ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, and the speed is there. He runs a 4.64 at the combine, which blew my mind because I watched his film and I was like, "Holy crap!
How do you get around that body?
Huh?
How do you get around that body downfield if you're a DB or something? You're not going to be able to, bro."
Yeah,
I'm telling you, those big kind of guys like Ben Coates, like that, they're impossible to cover.
That's a phenomenal example. I wonder where Ben Coates was drafted because that's a phenomenal example.
I want to say 2nd round. I want to say Ben Coates was a 2nd rounder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look it up for me there, Sean. I want to say Ben Coates was a 2nd rounder.
That is a I have not heard that comparison, and that is such a phenomenal comparison.
Now, Ben Coates was a better from the 5th round. Wow, 5th round. Now, Ben Coates from the get-go was better than Darnell as a pass catcher.
6'5", 245. So
from the get-go, okay, Ben Coates was already more polished than this kid coming out of college.
Who was the with the Chargers, the tight end there that was former basketball player was who?
Oh, Gates.
Yeah.
Now that's a whole different athlete there.
Yeah, that's a whole different athlete.
Yeah. And by the way, he wasn't a blocker either. Antonio.
I know.
Okay.
Woo, Antonio Gates ran a 4.55.
Yeah. Well, he's a basketball player. He was a basketball player. He was a hell of now he got thicker as he got older.
He's only 6'4".
Yeah, he got thicker as he got older, but when he was young and skinny and he could fly, dude.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a player, bro. Wow, what a great tight end Antonio Gates was.
Jimmy Graham ran a 4.56 and Jason Witten ran a 4.65. So this guy is faster than Jason Witten, which is mind-blowing. Which I mean, we're talking about a split second. I'm intrigued by Darnell Washington. I think there's a possibility he'll be there at 51. And if he is, I'm snatching him up because
they'll snatch him up because they can park him on the right side anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I'm parking him right there.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with you with what he is and what could improve. And on the tackle thing, what can I do? These guys, they like Jackson and Eichenberg, bro. That's what in that building, they like those guys. Mm-hmm. They truly believe in them. The rest of us, we have not been convinced by them.
You know what? You know what I remember, and you might have been there. I know you got to go, but I remember vividly. This is the first time I lost confidence in Austin Jackson. It was a Brian Flores practice training camp. They were running a scrimmage. Austin Jackson had just gotten beat by, if you give me time, I might remember the pass rusher, and he allowed Tua to get pressure. And Tua went to the sidelines and got in Austin Jackson's face and gave him the business. And I don't know if you were there. You probably were there.
I wasn't there. I wasn't there for that day, no.
It was a scrimmage, so I swear to God you were there. But
maybe. I don't know.
I made a big deal about it because it was the first time I'd ever seen Tua get in anybody's face.
Oh, you know what? I think I remember that now.
And we probably were sitting together, and I was like, "Did you see that?" And that was the first moment where I said, "Okay, I don't believe in this guy." And then we went to the joint practices in Chicago, and he got his ass handed to him by everybody on that Bears team. And I was like, "I'm done. I'm out. This line ain't gonna do it." And then they went to this, then they realized, this line ain't going to do it. And they started adding reinforcements. And then we had the season that we had. But yeah. Woo.
Yeah.
I don't know about us.
And that's what I tell everybody. In that building, they believe in those two guys. They truly believe in those two guys, where most of us don't, because they have, so far, Jackson and Eichenberg haven't done anything to convince him.
Jackson had a very strong beginning to his rookie season before.
I thought we were going to talk about camp. He actually started well last year. Camp.
His rookie season, he had a very good run before he suffered the knee injury.
Okay.
And then he came back from that and COVID and was never the same. I don't know. I don't know what to think. I'm bigger on Liam Eichenberg than I am on Austin Jackson.
Right. We have to defer to them because they're the offensive line experts. So there must be something that they like about
calling them offensive.
I don't know what it is, but because they have made no moves, none whatsoever, which is just baffling as hell. But again, it's consistent with what I keep hearing from the damn building.
There's so many break in case of emergency right tackles that are out there that they can eventually, in week 2 of training camp, go call these veterans who are not trying to participate in training camp, the Dewan James, the Eric Fishers, the Taylor Lewans. Like, you could have Taylor Lewan to this team right now for $4 million and patch up that right tackle spot. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and if you get into a bar fight, you're set with Taylor. He's good at those things. All right, follow him on Twitter at Omar Kelly and catch his work there at Sports Illustrated, and catch him every week here on Wednesdays with the EssentialMovingExperts.com Miami Dolphins Exchange. As always, thank you, my friend. We'll catch up next week. Thank you. Got it. There you go. Omar Kelly,
The essential moving experts, Miami Dolphins Exchange.
You've been listening to the Essential Moving Experts Miami Dolphins Exchange with Omar Kelly. When you're looking for local, home, long moving services, or office relocation, call Essential Moving Experts at 305-602-8369. Flat rates and no surprise charges. EssentialMovingExperts.com. 305-602-8369. Miami Dolphins fans, follow Big O Radio Show on all platforms and keep up with your favorite NFL team. Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
There we go. All right, we thank Omar Kelly. By the way, before I do anything else, I got to talk a little bit about a story that I saw that I don't really want to give this person the time of day, but I have to kind of talk a little bit about it because I think it's a joke. Anybody that goes to David Sampson for any kind of advice on anything is just, it shows, it's kind of like when Steve brought that article and it said that they miss Hunter Long. You lost me already right there. Like, I know now whoever's writing that article, you have zero credibility in my eyes already at this point. So to me, if you lean on David Sampson for any kind of expertise as a media member, then I really can't take you serious because you're basically putting some clown on. And Front Office Sports, some podcast, David Sampson joined them, and he was talking about how, talking about Derek Jeter, and and he was kind of making fun about Derek Jeter and how he ran the organization, all that. And by the way, Derek Jeter wasn't impressive. Okay, nothing happened. The most impressive thing he did was get rid of the old logo, the Loria logo, and make his own, which they did a pretty good job with that. Actually, I like that new logo look. I still love the original Marlin. That, to me, that's one of the great logos out there. That thing looks so classy and awesome. And so, and listen, this guy found out through the media that he was fired through Derek or whatever, and it's like, this is a guy that it's like I really don't give a shit about this guy, to be quite honest. Okay, I think this guy is a waste as a human being. Period. End of story. All right. But anyway, he goes on to talk about how, Derek didn't know what he was doing and the difference between him being an executive and an owner and all that. And this is a guy that lived off being, the stepson and all that crap. And the only reason he was there. But here's to show you, okay, how this is a guy that you don't bring on. So they asked him about the Oakland A's future. And he goes, I don't think the A's are going to move to Vegas. How do you like that? Well, they bought the land. They're moving to Vegas. And any idiot could have told you they were going to go to Vegas because baseball doesn't have to keep the A's in Oakland. That's stupid. That's bad business. Oakland is not a major league town for any sport whatsoever. Oakland is a minor league city. That's what they should be hosting. Arena leagues, minor league basketball, minor league football. That's what they should be doing. This isn't the 60s anymore. Big money is involved in sports. The city of Oakland is not about big money, not big sponsors, not big money. So they should not. And they don't have the kind of attendance that is going to be able to support pro teams. So any moron with just an ounce of intelligence would have told you that the inevitable is that Oakland loses everything
because all you have to do is go there. And you'll know that it's not the kind of city that should be supporting pro sports. They have way more problems, much more deeper. They got a lot of things to fix than using taxpayer money. They don't have that luxury. Okay? New York has that luxury. Los Angeles has that luxury. Miami has that luxury. Oakland is not one of those kind of towns. But there you go. You want to listen to David Sampson? There you go. I don't think the A's are going to move to Vegas. You don't know shit about baseball. You don't know shit about running a team. And that's what you get, front office sports. But then again, you want to get some guy that's going to stir it up or something. So let's just go for the sensationalism. And that's the problem with our media nowadays. Sensationalism, bullshit like this with this clown. Just like when Steve brought that article, that fool from Yard Barker telling us that the Dolphins are missing Hunter Long. I mean, is there a Dolphin fan in the world reading that article would ever want anything to do with that writer ever again? No. Because clearly you're a guy that you don't do your homework. All right, Marcel Louis-Jacques, Alan Poupar, Omar Kelly, Steve Calabro, we thank them all for joining us here on the program. We thank Mr. Brunetti, as always, and the Brunetti family for being very supportive of our platform, as always. And we thank all the great people out here at Hialeah Park, making it nice and easy always for us to broadcast. Sean Stanley, sir, thank you for mastering this entire platform every single day, every single week, and all year long. We thank all of you out there that tuned in, sent in a super chat. And remember, of course, you can also make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show at Cash App or Venmo. And you can also make a Bitcoin donation on Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. And we love the Bitcoin donations. Don't forget also, if you own a business and you want to be a part of our platform, call us on our business line, 786-754-4664. That's 786-754-4664. We'll see you tomorrow morning live from the KSDT CPA offices. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Have a great one.